Lord of the Apocalypse, I start with a level 10 unit. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201. The corners of Suyi's eyes twitched, and he coughed lightly. Didn't you give this to me? What, you want to go back again? Banner smiled, showing a wretched expression. Hey, I'm not afraid that you will give up on me. Let me tell you, the thing on the blueprint is powerful, and only I can make it, so you can. I don't want to know. What the hell is that? Suyi rolled his eyes at Banners, took out the blueprint, and threw it into the latter's hands. You can talk about it or not. After being teased by Suyi, Banners was a little depressed, but he quickly came up to him again, spread out the drawing in front of Suyi, pointed to the complicated drawing on it and said, the design drawing of the Doomsday Mecha, used judging by your human data, it should be regarded as a 9th level 9th unit, 9th tier 9 arms. Suyi's eyes brightened. Damn, this level is not low. It's really 9th level 9. Suyi asked. Banners nodded, of course, otherwise, why do you think I would risk my life to bring this thing back from the Machine Kingdom, and then be wanted? Things are easy to understand. The drawing in the hands of Banners is actually a design drawing of the 9th rank and 9 arms. Doomsday Mech. It can be said to be the treasure of the Kingdom of Machinery, but it was stolen by Banners, who killed 1,000 knives. That's why it caused the Mechanical Kingdom to be so furious. Many troops were sent to search for the whereabouts of Banners, trying to bring him back. Of course, what they want more should be this blueprint after all. Banners is currently positioned as the enemy of the Machine Kingdom. If this guy finds enough materials to create an army of Doomsday Mechas, the consequences for the Machine Kingdom can be imagined. John Cleese is not a fool. He knows this very well. Seeing Suyi's curious expression, Banners raised his head. During this time, I have collected almost all the materials. The only difference is the same, as long as I get such materials, the Doomsday Mecha, immediately ready for production. When Suyi heard this, it felt good. What kind of material is C? Hell rock crystal. Banners slowly spit out 4 words. Seeing that Suyi didn't speak, he continued, as far as I know, that kind of thing can only be produced in the plane of hell. And it's very rare. It's one of the most important things to build a Doomsday Mech. As soon as the words fell, Suyi defecated with a wave. A fist-sized crystal mine appeared in his hand, and he handed it to Banners. Is it this one? When the latter saw it, his eyes were straightened, and he almost knelt down for Suyi with a plop. Tremblingly, he took the crystal ore from Suyi's hand, and looked at it carefully in front of his eyes. That's right, it's this. It's a pity at the end. Banners showed regret again. Suyi asked, what's the pity? Banners raised his head and looked at Suyi. It's a pity that the amount is not enough. Hell rock crystal is the most important material for making the Doomsday Mecha. It has extremely strong hardness and plasticity. Just such a small piece is not enough. Hearing this, Suyi fell silent. The Doomsday Mech is a 9th tier 9 unit, but to create these 9th ranks and 9 arms, we still need the help of Banners. Most importantly, you need the Hell rock crystal, and it's a lot. The more the better. So, where did Suyi go to find so many Hell rock crystals? Just as he was thinking, suddenly Suyi's eyes lit up. He remembered something. With a wave of his hand, a scroll appeared in his hand. Hell teleportation scroll. Use this scroll to open a portal to hell. Portals last for 24 hours. If the speed is faster, within 24 hours, you should be able to find some Hell rock crystals. Thinking of this, Suyi snapped his fingers. Get ready, let's go to hell tomorrow. Banner's face froze, and he was about to ask Suyi about the specific process when he went to hell, but the latter had already mounted blazing and flew towards the gold mine. Shrugging helplessly, Banners had no choice but to return to his laboratory. But prepare, still have to prepare, must prepare, because Suyi never tells lies. On the other side, Suyi set off from the star field and rode blazing towards the gold mine. When it reaches the place, it falls from the sky. Come to Eve's side. No waiting, Suyi spoke, and Eve was the first to speak out. How about it, Banners? The corners of Suyi's lips curled up. Don't worry. This old boy has returned. Eve breathed a sigh of relief after hearing that. Suyi reached out to stop Eve's shoulder, and walked down the city wall. Take me to the workshop. Eve nodded and hurriedly led the way. Soon, the two came to the workshop. 50 production lines are running non-stop, one after another. The shiny gold coins with residual warmth popped out from the end of the production line and fell into the box while leading Suyi forward. Eve introduced, it's been 22 days since the last time I harvested gold coins. About 50 million coins were produced every day. and a total of 1.1 billion coins were produced. In order to build a defense line for the gold mine, I took out 200 million gold coins and distributed them to the surrounding lords 10 days ago, so now the available gold coins in the account are 900 million. So you listened and didn't say anything. Take out the gold coins and distribute them to the lords around the gold mines. Chapter 305 Level 6 Dragon Nest. After all, to protect the gold mine, we still need the help of these lords. These lords can become stronger and develop faster. And the gold mines will be safer, and sending money directly is conducive to cultivating the loyalty of these people. Together with the upper and lower territory contracts, a double layer of insurance is formed. After listening to Eve's introduction, Suyi coughed lightly. How about this? You give me 800 million gold coins, and the remaining 100 million, you and Andre will share it equally, and use it to build gold mine number 1, number 2 and territory 2. Eve nodded upon hearing that, and then applied for a trade with Suyi. The current appropriation, 800 million, was given to Suyi. Suyi took it, thinking about what to do with the money. After inspecting the entire mine with Eve, Suyi left here, but he did not return to the star field, but rode blazing to the Milky Way on Lake Island. It's been more than 20 days, and little girl Lin Yangxi's development here is not bad. It is even being dug to fill the lake now. There is no way. The island in the center of the lake needs to go through Yanhu Lake to get to the land, and for the sake of safety and speed, you can't just let mermaids cross the river with arms on their backs every time. Therefore, Lin Yangxi took the first step and explained the situation to Vulcan. Let the dwarves build a railway track leading directly to the edge of Yanhu Lake. This oil dug out from the pit by trucks was transported here by mine carts, then poured into the Wild Goose Lake until today. When Suyi arrived here, the road from Yanhu Lake to the island in the center of the lake had already been paved for more than 200 meters. If we continue to work hard, I believe that it will not be long before the center island of Yanhu Lake reaches the shore, and a perfect road will be paved for the troops on the center island to march. Suyi was a little surprised by the idea of filing the lake and building roads. In my heart, Lin Yangxi thought that this little girl had a lot of ideas falling from the sky. Lin Yangxi rushed up to meet her. After the two chatted for a while, Suyi proposed to take Lin Yangxi to the Orange Secret Realm. It has been nearly a month since the harvesting of resources in the last life. It's also time to take a trip and bring back the resources there. Lin Yangxi did not refuse, and immediately rode on the giant dragon and set off with Suyi. Go straight to the Orange Secret Realm. It's still the same here. There is a lot of traffic. No way. For ordinary lords, their channels for obtaining resources are very limited. There are only a few in total: secret lands, treasure chests, and currency exchange. Therefore, this Orange Secret Realm is extremely important to them. Suyi took Lin Yangxi and rode a giant dragon into the Secret Realm, attracting the attention of a large number of lords and job changers. They have different expressions. Some are apprehensive, some are afraid, but most of all, they are still envious. In the age of lords, occupying a large number of resource points, having high-level troops, and being accompanied by beautiful women, this is simply what they dreamed of, right? But there is always a gap between dreams and reality. After entering the Secret Realm, the two went straight to the resource point. It has been 28 days since the last resource harvest. The output of 2 million resources per day is 20 million for 28 days. That is 5.6 million, or 5.6 after collecting the resources. The two left Orange and returned to their respective territories. Suyi returned to the star field. Open the resource reserve of the territory and check it out, as follows: Lord Hall, Lord, Suyi level 6 Sky Alliance, Cloud Territory, Red Rose Territory, Clearwater Territory, Galaxy Territory, Dryad Territory, Underlord Territory, Warhammer Tribe Building. 25 Arms, Giant Dragon, Tier 4, Centaur, Tier 4, Blade Spider, Tier 4, Goblin, Tier 1, Red Armored Fire Ant, Tier 4, Giant Slinger, Tier 7, Undead Knight, 7th rank, Dragon Hunter, 8th rank, population 32 timber, 18 billion stone mine, 17 billion iron ore, 17 billion gold coins, 15 billion food, 160,000 currency, 620,000 upgrade needs. Timber, stone ore, iron ore, and gold coins are 5 million each. Wood, stone ore, and iron ore reserves will not be mentioned. Anyway, they can't be used up every time. Let's just say that the reserves of this gold coin are already 1.5 billion. So, what to do with these 1.5 billion gold coins? First of all, the portal with the Red Rose territory of Dahan Mountain in the north should be placed first. This is the bridge connecting the Star Domain and the Red Rose territory, and it is the most important thing. Thinking of this, Suyi was not idle. and immediately hands-on. Chapter 202. The address was still chosen behind the main hall of the star domain. There are already 2 portals here, one leads to the Tree Demon territory, and the other leads to the Clearwater territory of Tanxi. Now, there will be a 3rd portal here leading to the Red Rose territory of Dahan Mountain in the north. Choosing to build, the resources needed did not disappoint Suya. It's really 500 million, shit, 500 million. Just cut a flesh and build the portal. Check it out and make sure there's nothing wrong with it. Suya then went to the Dragon's Nest. Currently, the Dragon Nest level in the star domain is level 5. The training peak value is 1000, which is already fully trained. Therefore, Suya's next step is to upgrade the Dragon Nest to level 6. Do you want to spend 500 million lumber, stone ore, iron ore, and gold coins each to raise the level of the Dragon's Nest to level 6? The system beep sounds. Suya chose yes as soon as the words fell. Suya's resource reserves dropped by a large amount, and the upgrade began. The time is up to 480 hours even if Suya has a god level cooldown. It will take nearly 5 hours to complete the construction. Suya didn't bother to wait, and returned to the Lord's Hall. By the way, prepare for tomorrow's trip to Hell Arms. Still bring the 100 giant dragons. Others, such as scrolls of forbidden spells, should be carried more, as they can play a big role at critical moments. Finally, Suya brought a lot of food. Time flies. It is already the 2nd day. The upgrade of Dragon Lair has been completed. Attributes are as follows: Dragon Nest, Tier 10 level, 6 units, 10 training template, Giant Dragon training cost, 200,000 gold coins. Training time, 24 hours. Upgrade required: wood, stone, iron ore, gold ore each 10. 100 million, time 960 hours. As Suya expected, the peak training level of the 6th level Dragon Nest is 5,000. If the training is full, Suya will have a huge army of 5,000 dragons. Of course, to train the remaining 4,000 dragons, the gold coins needed are astronomical. Based on the calculation of 2 million per head, that is 8 billion. Chapter 306. Heading to Hell. Needless to say, it was terrifying. In addition, raising the level of the Dragon Nest to level 7 also requires 1 billion resources. The ability to burn money is simply 5 stars. Train all the remaining 500 million gold coins into giant dragons. A total of 250 units will take a lot of time. Suya didn't just sit and wait, but went straight to banners. After arranging the things here, after arriving at the place, Suya realized that this old guy was even more excited than himself. He had been waiting outside his laboratory early in the morning, and when he saw Suya approaching, he quickly waved to say hello. Are you ready? Suya cast a glance at him. Banners nodded vigorously. Everything is ready, ready to go at any time. Hearing this, Suya snapped his fingers. Okay, let's go. Saying that, Suya rode blazing, took banners with him, and flew out of the star field, heading towards the gold mine. Before going to hell, he has to bring someone with him. Vulcan. That's right, it was him. As a dwarf, he is professional in finding and exploiting mineral deposits. How could he be missing in this matter? When Suya and Banners saw Vulcan, the latter was directing the gold mining work and was extremely busy. It wasn't until Suya patted him on the shoulder that this guy reacted and turned his head immediately. Lord, Banners, why are you here? Vulcan revealed a simple and honest smile. A lot of stains and sweat fell on the bronzed face under the hard hat. It can be seen that this guy has contributed a lot to Suya's gold mine. Suya coughed lightly. Stop working here and come with us. Vulcan was a little confused, and asked where he was going. Hell, Banners rode. Vulcan was even more confused, but Suya and Banners didn't give him much time to think about it. Dragged him and rushed towards gold mine number 2 territory. This is Andre's territory. Although it is not as prosperous as territory number 1, its scale must not be underestimated. Hundreds of undead knights are patrolling around the territory, and once they find monsters approaching, they will swarm up with their hard iron hoofs. They trample the enemy to pieces. Find Andre. The 3 of them explained their purpose. When Andre heard that Suya was going to hell, he immediately became serious. Dear Lord, I wonder if you are willing to take me with you on this trip? Andre asked in a low voice. Suya had this idea a long time ago. After all, this is hell. This plane, let alone this life. Even Suya from the previous life. Bringing Andre, a native of hell, will definitely save trouble for this trip. The 4 of them reached an agreement. Suya took out a hell teleportation scroll, and opened it immediately. The next moment, a portal with black mist appeared in front of the 4 of them. Come on, let's go in, Suya ordered. Andre was the first to bear the brunt. Riding a skeleton warhorse into the portal, it disappeared with a whoosh. Banners and Vulcan followed closely behind. The last is Suya. Before going in order to ensure safety, Suya had ordered all the undead knights here to gather, and Eve. She also knew the situation here. Suya carefully explained that before they come back, They must protect the safety of the portal, otherwise, if something goes wrong with the portal here, the consequences will be disastrous. At the same time, it seems to pass through a curtain of water. When Suyi and the others came out again, they had already come to another world. The sky's dark, neither the sun nor the moon can be seen. The only thing that can be seen is the sky, like the clouds ignited by the fire. Emitting a bloody light, the earth is incomplete and uneven, and the geographical conditions are very different from those on the other side of the earth. The ground under the feet of the four of them was something similar to sand and gravel, a little soft, and there was a slight crackling sound when walking on it. This is how Banner swallowed a mouthful of saliva, squatted down, picked up the gravel on the ground, and looked it up in his hands. At this moment, the ground under the feet of the four of them suddenly trembled. Vulcan, who was unable to stand still, sat down on the ground and whispered, "What happened?" After all, Andre is a native of Hell, and he knows the situation here better. It looked around and quickly confirmed the direction of the movement. Brave, the eyes of the blue fire looked towards that side. "Be careful, there are monsters coming." Suyi frowned, and had already drawn out a flowing sword. He looked in the direction Andre was looking at. Sure enough, dense footsteps came from the mountain depression over there. Immediately afterwards, a series of black shadows appeared. They were beast monsters, very large in size. Each of them was 7 or 8 meters long. There are even crackling flames burning on his body with limbs moving. He ran wildly towards this side. "What is that?" Vulcan asked. Andre just took a glance, and he had already confirmed the identities of those giant beasts. Hell Nether Tiger, a monster of the 7th rank. "Everyone be careful." As soon as the words fell, Suyi had already opened the arms ring. Chilai brought 10 other giant dragons to appear above the heads of the crowd. "Attack!" Following Suyi's order, 10 giant dragons headed by Chilai rushed out. Surrounded by thunderous momentum, they launched a fierce attack on the Hell Nether Tiger, and in an instant, a fierce battle broke out. The Hell Nether Tigers were turned on their backs, and a large number of them were wiped out in minutes. The giant dragons took advantage of the victory to pursue and attack frantically, killing more Hellghost Tigers. Suyi and the other 4 hid behind to watch the battle. The number of this group of Hellghost Tigers is not large, about 300 or 400, no match for the dragon at all. In less than 10 minutes, they all turned into corpses. Surprisingly, after these guys were killed, sparks exploded from their bodies. Soon the body was burnt clean. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203. Only some black unknown powder remains. Sue, you didn't care too much. The portal connecting the earth and the plane of hell can only exist for 24 hours. Once 24 hours have elapsed, the portal will close. Chapter 307, Hell Rock Crystal Mine. In other words, Suyi and the others only have 24 hours to explore and find Hell Rock crystals. After the time is up, no matter if you find it, you should evacuate here. So, it seems like time is running out. Come on, it's time to get down to business. We have less than 24 hours, Suyi reminded. Andre nodded when he heard the words, rode on the skeleton warhorse, finally found a direction, and led the 3 of them forward. A group of people walked mightily on the land of Hell. Vulcan kept scanning the surroundings, using his unique sense of smell for finding mineral deposits, looking around, trying to find places with mineral veins. Banners, on the other hand, has already taken out some kind of machine he made himself. As he walked, he stared at the machine, looking at the data flashing on it all the way forward. The 4 people don't know how far they have traveled. Just when Suyu got impatient and was about to change direction, Banners and Vulcan stopped at almost the same time. There is a situation. The 2 said in unison. 4 people stopped in their tracks. Suyi and Andre looked at the 2 of them, waiting for their answer. Banners put the instrument in his hand. His breathing was a little short, and his eyes flashed with excitement. I have detected it, and there must be Hell Rock crystal veins within the range of 3 kilometers from our center. Suyi frowned, and asked quickly, what about the location and direction? Banners looked around and didn't answer yet. Vulcan was the first to speak out. According to the surrounding terrain and terrain analysis, if there are veins in this area, then it must be in that direction. With that said, Vulcan pointed to the east where Suyi and the others were. Suyi looked in the direction he pointed, and saw a canyon over there. The light was already dim and there was some distance, so Suyi and the others couldn't directly see what was there. Go and have a look, Suyi ordered. Bear the brunt and head over there. Banners, Vulcan, and Andre followed closely behind. Walking, Suyi quickly discovered something was wrong with his keen perception. He has already felt a vigorous movement coming from that canyon. Lord, be careful, there is something over there, Andrew reminded. Suyi nodded. Tried his best to cover up his aura, and quickly moved towards the canyon, then laid down and looked into the canyon. This look, immediately the source of the movement was discovered. I could only see that many fires were lit under the canyon, and many buildings were built and more. There are skeletons one by one. What is being dug? Banners had already walked over, lying beside Suyi, and just glanced at him. This guy became excited. My God, it's the Hell Crystal, the Hell Crystal. As he said that, this guy couldn't bear the excitement in his heart, and wanted to rush down, but was held down by Suyi. Wait first, don't be bad, by Suyi. Done, scolded. Banners calmed down, and looked at Suyi with some puzzlement. The latter glared at him, and pointed to the other side of the canyon. Look over there. Banners looked towards the position Suyi pointed at, and suddenly his only cloudy old eye widened. On the other side of the canyon, away from the mine, there are more than a dozen necromancers gathering. These guys are sitting around and don't know what they're doing. Seeing this scene, Banners sighed, looking at Suyi. Then what should we do now? The Hell Rock crystal vein below is extremely large, and it was hard to find it. Naturally, Banners would not give up easily, but the problem now is that this mine is also guarded by necromancers. It's not easy to get it. Suyi also knew the difficulty, so he turned his head and sat on the big rock. Do you have any ideas? Vulcan and Andrew looked at each other. Why don't you just go ahead and kill the guards, and then occupy the mine? Vulcan rode. Suyi didn't speak after hearing the words, but looked at Andre. The latter shook his head, seemingly disapproving of Vulcan's idea. Hell Rock crystals are an important equipment-making material for the undead. Such a large-scale Hell Rock crystal should be occupied by a large force. If we kill those necromancers, I am afraid it will take less than 3 hours. There will be a large army rushing here to surround us. Suyi snapped his fingers, and Andre's words reached his heart. If the portal connecting hell and earth has always existed, then Suyi didn't have any worries in this regard anyway. I brought 100 giant dragons, right? I'm going to smash against the undead, although it is not enough to destroy the entire undead force, but you can definitely buy a lot of time and get a lot of Hell Rock crystals. But the problem now is that the portals of hell and earth can only exist for 24 hours. The actions of Suyi and others must be completed within 24 hours. If you attack directly, it is easy to be discovered by other undead. This is hell, not the earth, the kind where there are so many undead monsters. When the time comes to surround them with partners, what to do will waste a lot of time in case of more than 24 hours. Suyi took a deep breath, filling the whole nasal cavity with a smell of sulfur. This is my only concern. Do you have a solution? The three of Banners looked at each other in blank dismay. In the end, Andre spoke up and came up with a solution. How about this? Leave these necromancers to me, and I will go down and find a way to lure them away later. You go in quickly, take away the Hell Rock crystals that the undead have mined, and finally we will meet at the portal. Vulcan frowned, a little worried. But how can you get away like this? Andre laughed when he heard this. You underestimate the speed of the undead knights. Do you think that those undead mages can keep up with me when I run with all my strength? The three of Suyi were speechless. But think about it, Andre is a knight. A knight. He is good at speed, and when he runs wildly, the necromancers really can't catch up. Chapter 308, The Earl of Angus. After thinking for a while, there was no better way. Suyi coughed lightly. Okay, it's settled like this. Everyone should be as fast as possible, and try not to make mistakes. The other three nodded. Andre rode a skeleton horse and circled to the front of the canyon. Then he summoned some skeleton soldiers and followed behind him. In the end, he pretended to be terrified and ran towards the canyon. The iron hooves of the skeleton horse fell on the ground of the canyon, making a dense rattling sound. It soon attracted the attention of the necromancers deep in the canyon. What's going on outside? Go out and have a look. Yes. This is the Hell Rock crystal mine occupied by Earl Angus. There must be no problem at all. Saying that, the dozen or so necromancers huffed and ran towards the outside of the canyon. Finally, in the long line of sky entering the canyon, Andre stopped running wild when they saw that the other party was an undead monarch. These undead mages breathed a sigh of relief. Hey, my lord, why are you panicking? A necromancer named Lauren asked. Andre reined in the reins of the skeleton horse, and then jumped off the horse. He ran to Lauren with an anxious expression on his face. Your Excellency, necromancers, my army was attacked by a human lord in that direction, and a battle is currently breaking out. The opponent has a large number of people, and my army is at a disadvantage. I wonder if you would like to run with me and kill those human lords. Andrew rode. He spoke quickly, and deliberately showed a look of extreme anxiety. After the words fell, Lauren and the dozen or so necromancers looked at each other. It's impossible for humans. This is hell. These guys dare to run in. A necromancer raised a question. Andre seemed to have expected that they would ask such a question, so he had already planned his speech before entering the canyon. Those hateful human lords are not limited to developing in their world. They are aiming at hell, menacing, very fierce. Seeing that what Andre said really seemed to be true, Lauren pondered for a moment, and made a low and hoarse voice. Damn human lord, dare to invade the plane of hell. Let's help this undead lord. With that said, Lauren turned around and pointed to several necromancers. You follow me. The others stay. Andre looked at this. It's not going to work. If it can't take away all the necromancers, then it still can't provide the best conditions for Suya and others. Chapter 204. After thinking for a while, Andre blurted out, No, I implore your excellencies to come together. The number of human allies is very large. We must solve it as soon as possible. When Lauren heard this, he hesitated. This Andre strikes while the iron is hot. They are less than 30 kilometers away from here. If my army is defeated, I believe they will be able to reach here in a short time. By then Andre didn't say anything about the latter, but Lauren and other necromancers understood what it meant. After hesitating for a moment, Lauren immediately said that he was about to set off, but was grabbed by another necromancer. Old Great, this is the mine occupied by the Earl of Angus. We are all gone. If something goes wrong, we can't afford it. Lauren thought about it, and patted the necromancer on the shoulder. Okay then, you stay, we'll come as we go. After finishing speaking, he prepared to accompany Andre to set off. Seeing this scene, the latter knew that no matter what he said, he could not take away all the necromancers. I had no choice but to sigh softly in my heart. And then set off with a dozen or so necromancers headed by Lauren. A group of people ran towards the south in a mighty manner. Andre was very anxious, as if something had happened. Turned the necromancers around at the same time. The sky above the canyon on the other side. Suya watched Andre leave with the necromancers, clenched his fists. It's time for us to play. As he spoke, he summoned several giant dragons, order banners and Vulcan to ride the dragon. Then with an order, the three of them set off. With three dragons jumped down from the top of the canyon. Spread your wings, swoop down, and reach the bottom of the valley in an instant. The only necromancer left was walking towards the depths of the canyon. Suddenly, I heard the whirring sound of flapping wings from above my head. Suddenly startled, looked up. When it saw the three giant dragons, it almost yelled, but the blazing speed is extremely fast. With a whoosh, he rushed to the necromancer. Before it came out, it greeted it with a breath of dragon PFFT. The necromancer didn't even utter a scream. His body was burnt to ashes, and he belched in an instant. Finish off this necromancer. The surrounding undead finally came to their senses, put down the dug hell rock crystals one after another, and rushed towards the giant dragon. Suya didn't give these guys a good face. He attacked frantically, and quickly opened the gap. Then jump off blazing back, run to the place where the undead store the netherite. The netherite crystals that have been mined here are almost piled up like mountains. Suya was not polite either, opened the Lord's space, and started throwing it in crazily. Banners and Vulcan also jumped off the dragon's back one after another, and ran to Suya's side to help. Everyone was fast, and put a large amount of hell rock crystals into their respective spaces. It only took less than 20 minutes, and all the hell rock crystals piled up here were all in the pockets of the three of them. Seeing that the time was almost up, Suya gave an order and began to retreat. The three of them rode a giant dragon, and after solving a large number of undead blocking the way, they soared into the sky and flew out of the canyon. On the other side, Andre is running through hell with a dozen or so necromancers. More than a dozen guys followed behind, full of anger, wishing to go immediately meet the human lords who are invading hell, and kill them all. But after running for so long, I didn't find anything. This made Lauren a little puzzled. Chapter 309. Tune the tiger away from the mountain, and it's empty. Your Majesty, the undead monarch, where is the battle you mentioned? Lauren yelled. Andre ran wildly in front, as if he didn't hear it, and didn't make any unnecessary movements. In this way, the group of people ran a long distance forward. Still haven't seen any movement. Lauren felt more and more that something was wrong, and quickly ordered all the necromancers to stop. But even so, Andre still didn't stop. This made Lauren firmer in her mind. What's the matter, boss? Lauren, a necromancer asked. Lauren's face was gloomy, hidden under the black cloak, and a hoarse voice sounded. How long have we been out? The necromancer pondered for a moment. It's been about 40 minutes. Then the battle. Did the undead lord say that we are only 30 kilometers away from where we are? In 40 minutes, we should have run 30 kilometers. As soon as these words came out, all the necromancers froze. It seems that this is really the case. But that undead monarch, why is it? A necromancer asked a question at this moment. Andre had already run far away. Of course it knows that those necromancers have discovered the problem. I was worrying about how to get rid of these guys. I didn't expect Lauren to stop on her own initiative, which was just in line with Andre's wishes. Therefore, it decisively followed the plan and ran forward without stopping at this moment. In just 10 or so minutes, it has already run to a place 5 or 6 kilometers away from the necromancer now. According to its speed, even if those guys sense something is wrong, they will definitely not be able to catch up with him. So good, so good. After thinking about it, it should be almost time, and Andre didn't stay any longer, turned around and ran back. As a local resident of Hell, its ability to recognize the way in Hell is quite good. Aiming in a general direction, it shouldn't take long to go back on the other side. Lauren pondered for a few minutes, and suddenly the blue soul fire in her head trembled. Could it be that I fell into a trick to divert the tiger away from the mountain? As soon as these words came out, the other necromancers also reacted. Oops, Earl Angus's Hell Rock Crystal Mine. Quick, go back. If something goes wrong there, Earl Angus will not let us go. Thinking of that elegant but very cruel monarch, a dozen necromancers could not help but shudder. They all turned around and started running towards the previous canyon. Lauren was furious at the moment. As it ran back, it looked at the direction Andre left. A blue soul fire in the skull was burning fiercely, making crackling sounds. Damn bastard, don't let me get to you. After swearing fiercely, all the necromancers started to return to the outskirts of the canyon. For more than half an hour it was so quiet inside that it felt unreal. Lauren ran at the front, and after entering the canyon, she raised her hand to let others slow down. What's wrong, boss? A necromancer asked. Lauren was worried, and a hoarse voice sounded, there is a situation. It's too quiet. The other necromancers behind it looked at each other in blank dismay. It's so quiet. Yeah, it's so quiet. This is not normal. Then, a group of people quickly entered the canyon, and then saw the scene in the canyon immediately. He was stunned. Almost all the undead who were used to mine or were killed corpses in various shapes lie in the canyon. The only necromancer left before also disappeared at this moment. Needless to say, after Lauren and others left, something happened here. Asshole. The enraged Lauren hit the stone wall beside him with a fist. Say yes. He ran towards the front. It ran to warehouse number 1 where netherite crystal ore was stored. Open it, and it's empty. Warehouse number 2. Number 2 is empty. Warehouse number 3 is the same. Needless to say, after they leave this canyon, the enemies who attack here must be aiming at the Hell Rock Crystal Mine. So much netherite that has been mined has been stolen. What a mistake. Lauren collapsed on the ground. The other dozen necromancers are not in good condition either, looking at each other in blank dismay. I don't know what to do. In 10 more hours, it's time for Earl Angus men to pull the ore. If by the time they can't see the ore they want, then the consequences of these necromancers are disastrous. Chapter 205. Just when Lauren and the necromancers looked confused, angry and terrified, Suya has brought Vulcan and Banners back to the portal. Here they waited for a long time, but he didn't see Andre coming back, so he couldn't help feeling a little worried. Boss, why Andre hasn't come back yet? There must be something wrong. Vulcan was a little worried as soon as Suya said this. Before Suya could speak, Banners, who was sitting on the ground and looking at the Hellrock crystal ore in his hand, raised his leg and kicked it. Shut your crow's mouth. It's impossible for Andre. Something went wrong. Suya didn't speak, but just glanced around, with some doubts in his heart. According to the time analysis, Andre should indeed come back at this time. But now Suya is thinking about whether to ride a giant dragon to find Andre from the direction south of the portal. There was the sound of solid horseshoes. Soon, a tall and strong figure appeared at the end of the vision of the three of them. Banners got up from the ground and cast a glance at Vulcan. Look, isn't this here? Vulcan shrugged, watching Andre come to him on horseback. After the four gathered, Andre jumped off his horse and bowed slightly to Suya. Boss, the task you gave me has been completed. I wonder if you succeeded. Banners tossed the Hellrock crystal ore in his hand, and smiled. Of course I succeeded. All the Hellrock crystals that have been mined in the canyon have been taken away by us. Ha ha ha, big man. This time, but thank you. Chapter 310. One more vote. Explosive flame gem. Subscribed for the third watch. Banner's joyful expression made Andre heave a sigh of relief. It took such a big risk to lure away the necromancer. If Suya didn't succeed here, wouldn't it be just a thought? And Andre stifled this idea again. Just kidding. Who is Suya? And the fact that Suya didn't succeed is completely overthinking. The four reunited, and Suya checked the information of the portal behind him. There are 11 hours left in the 24 hours. Not much to say. Not much to say, a little difficult to do. The portal will be closed for 11 hours. Do you have any good suggestions? Suya looked around at the other three and asked. Vulcan and Banners looked at each other without speaking. Andre, however, seemed to have been prepared for a long time. Standing in front of Suya, he said softly, Lord, do you want to make another vote? Suya frowned. What does it mean to make another vote? Could it be that Andre had other ideas? After getting Suya's instruction, Andre continued, on the way back, I found another place. The Hell Rock Crystal Mine is just over 10 kilometers away from here. Once this is said, no matter whether it's Vulcan or Banners, or even Suya, all eyes shine. Banners was particularly exaggerated, grabbing Andre's arm. One vote, one must vote. Vulcan didn't speak, but looked at Suya, as if waiting for his order. Suya didn't expect Andre to make such a discovery. It's a good thing to find Hell Rock Crystal Mines, but a problem now is that they only have 11 hours. Can I really get ore from that mine vein? Are there any defenders? Suya asked. Andre nodded. Yes, and the scale is larger than the one just now. Suya frowned. This is to increase the difficulty for himself. Seeing Suya's silence, Andre continued, I have observed that nearby, that mine veins not only produce Hell Rock crystals, but also produce something like a blasting gem. Before Andre finished speaking, Vulcan and Banner's breathing became rapid at the same time. My God, the explosive flame gem. This is a good thing that can change the attributes of equipment, Vulcan exclaimed. It can be seen that it is very interested and longing for this explosive gem. Banners also had the same expression, and he was just about to kneel down to Suya. Lord, hurry up, you must vote. With the explosive flame gem, the Doomsday Mech can be strengthened even stronger. Suya hesitated. In other words, he is more sensible. Explosive flame gem is of course good, so is he a kind of attribute gem, which can be cast into equipment. The attribute of equipment, it can even be fused with some special attributes to enhance the ability of the arms. For example, Flame Explosion Gem is a gem of fire attribute, and it is integrated with fire attribute and units with fire attribute ability. In other words, it can improve the fire attribute ability of the arms. This is a good thing, a real good thing. However, the most important consideration right now is time. Is there enough time? If you get the explosive flame gem but can't go back, then Suya would rather not have the explosive flame gem. 10 an hour is nearly half a day. I brought another 100 dragons to help out, so it shouldn't be a big problem. Suya thought so in his heart. Finally, under the hopeful gazes of Andre, Banners, and Vulcan, they clapped their hands together. Okay, let's go. Make a quick decision, and return here before the portal disappears. Andre nodded, expressing his agreement with Suya's order. Banners and Vulcan showed excited expressions. Explosive flame gem. This thing is a rare thing. There seems to be no lumps on the earth. Without further ado, Suya brought the three of them. Immediately after giving the order, set off. He ran behind Andre for 20 minutes. Finally arrived at the destination at the end of the line of sight of 4 people. A huge mining site appeared compared with the previous one. The only difference is that the scale is more than doubled, and this vein is obviously more precious than the one just now. There are at least tens of thousands of undead stationed here. Among them are necromancers, vampires, gargoyles, and even a hellhound. Cerberus 3-headed dog. It is an 8th order monster, similar in shape to a dog, with a huge body. Above the neck are 3-headed dogs. Raging black flames emerged from the bodies of those guys, making a slight crackling sound. Very strong monster. How to fight this time? Vulcan asked. The scale of the mine vein here is too large, and there are a large number of defenders. It is obviously impossible to rely on the previous method to succeed. Even if Andre says it's breaking the sky, I'm afraid he can only take away part of the monsters at that time. Suya and the others will still face tens of thousands of monsters. It's completely the same as taking it away or not. Okay. Suya rubbed her temples, closed her eyes and meditated. Now that you're here, you're bound to gain something. But what can I do to gain something? After thinking and thinking, Suya finally opened his eyes. Suddenly he has a solution. The mining site in front of him does not have any defensive facilities such as walls or moats. The only protection is the undead army on the periphery. There are a lot of opponents. If it is a strong attack, based on Suya's estimate, the attack should be able to attack, but it takes a lot of time in this battle. The emphasis should be on a quick victory. Then, the best way is to dilute the defenders here, so that Suya and others can drive straight in and enter the mine. This method, Suya remembered, was used when he attacked the Orc Secret Realm. The effect is not bad. Today, I will use it again. Hope it works. Thinking of this, Suyazheo called the 3 of them over and gave orders softly. Wait a minute, I will release the giant dragons. Let them fly in all directions, attract the defenders to leave, and then intercept and kill them on the way. After the troops here are almost diluted, we will drive straight in." The three of them understood Suyi's words and nodded in agreement. Afterwards, Suyi opened the unit ring and released dozens of giant dragons in succession. Chapter 311. Repeat the old trick and start attacking, begging for flowers, begging for tickets, begging for everything. Dozens of giant dragons were released, and then under Suyi's order, they began to divide into several strands and flew towards the surroundings. Of course, in order to create the illusion that the dragons are from outside, Suyi specially made them hide their bodies when they left until it flies out of the observation range of this mine. The giant dragons who were distributed in all directions began to fly towards this site even while flying and destroying. The result was as expected by Suyi. When these giant dragons flew near the mine, they quickly attracted the attention of the defenders in the mine, especially those necromancers. They are rare, highly intelligent creatures in hell. At this moment, when he saw a giant dragon appearing, he immediately felt a threat. Without saying a word, he ordered the troops to chase after him. As rare, highly intelligent creatures, necromancers are in charge of the entire mine at this moment. With their orders, the other monsters in the mine naturally dare not neglect, quickly divided into several teams, and rushed towards the giant dragon that appeared in this short period of time. The defenders in the mine were reduced by 1/3, especially those hell three-headed dogs, as the strongest monsters in the mine, and their speed is extremely fast. They are the best choice for chasing dragons. After this meal, almost all the three-headed dogs in the mine were attracted away. This is in Suyi's arm. Seeing that the timing was about right, Suyi waved his hand. "Do it, follow." As he said that, he summoned several giant dragons, and took Banners and Vulcan to the back of the giant dragons. Ahem, Andre is riding a horse, so he can only run. Then with an order, the four of them headed in the same direction. I caught up with the dragons that attracted the garrison at the mine just now. The three giant dragons successfully attracted more than 50 three-headed hellhounds, as well as a necromancer, gargoyle, and undead monsters, which numbered as many as 1,000 at this moment. The sound of flapping wings coming from behind has already attracted the attention of these guys. Chapter 206. The giant dragon flying in front had also stopped and joined Suyi and the others. It wasn't until this moment that the necromancer really realized that something was wrong. It glared at Suyi, Vulcan and the others. "How did you human dwarves appear in hell?" Suyi was amused when he heard the words, and asked back, "Then why did you appear in the human world?" The necromancer was speechless, but Suyi didn't give it much time to think. With a whistle, the giant dragon, which had been preparing for a long time, swooped down from the sky, go straight to the army of necromancers. The necromancer's teeth were itching in anger, and at the same time, there was a very bad premonition in its heart. First, a giant dragon appeared near the mine, and then led the troops to pursue it. After chasing for a certain distance, they ran into humans again. They launched an attack on themselves. If it is said that this is not a trick, no one will believe it. And from the analysis of this situation, these humans must have planned in advance. They have only one goal, and that is the hell rock crystals and explosive gemstones in the mine. Thinking of this, the necromancer gritted his teeth, avoiding the attack of the giant dragon. Bayan said viciously, "Tune the tiger away from the mountain. Your goal is the hell rock crystal and explosive flame gem." Suyi's eyes lit up when he heard the words. "Oh, I was only guessing before, so it turns out that there is really a blast gem in that mine. That's very good, thank you for the news." After saying that, Suyi slapped the sitting down fiercely. At the same time, the fearless field is open with a fiery understanding. The huge wings that covered the sky flapped, and the huge body was wrapped in the strong wind, and rushed down from the air with a bang. It collided with a dozen hell three-headed dogs below. Those guys with burning flames all over looked mighty and domineering, but they were not blazing opponents at all. After a few rounds, they died. The corpse fell to the ground. The remaining gargoyles, undead monsters and so on are not worth mentioning. Under the siege of Andre, Vulcan, and Banners, 3 people. They were killed and injured in minutes. The battle here was over in less than 10 minutes. Time was running out. Suyi didn't take long, and with a wave of his hand, he led the 3 of them straight to the next direction. The situation here is pretty much the same as before. It also attracted many hell three-headed dogs and undead monsters, but the ending is exactly the same as the previous ones. The dragons launched a fierce attack, and the battle was over in a few minutes. Finally, the next wave, and the next wave. After attacking more than 10 waves in a row, all the attracted monsters have been killed. On the other hand, Suyi was unscathed. "Let's go back and repeat it again. And we will force our way in." Suyi ordered. Time is really limited, he can't waste too much time on these things. Vulcan, Banners, and Andre naturally have no opinion. They all followed Suyi and rushed towards the mine and learned the perception just now and attract a large number of monsters. Divide and hit it. After several hours, the battle was over. Suyi rode blazing back to the portal. After checking the information, I found that the remaining time of the portal is 5 hours and 23 minutes. Not too long, but definitely not short either after counting the time. The four of them set off again, still going straight to the mine. At the mine site at this moment, after the consumption of the 4 people by Suyi, less than 1/5 of the guards are left. If it is said that Suyi and others were going to attack the mine at the beginning, it was still a bit difficult to Suyi and the others. The defense of the current mine site is no different than a piece of paper, the kind that can be broken with one stab. No scruples, just attacked directly. Suyi was the first to bear the brunt, opened the unit ring, and summoned all the dragons who had eaten their fill and recovered their physical strength to the peak. With his command, all the dragons began to attack. This sudden huge movement outside the mine instantly attracted the attention of the remaining defenders inside the mine. The remaining 20 necromancers looked at each other in blank dismay. What's the situation? Why is there still a giant dragon? Fuck, none of the people we sent out just now came back. It can't be. Chapter 312. Breaking into the warehouse, packing it up and taking it away. Second watch subscription. A strong sense of foreboding filled their hearts, but you will not give these necromancers too much preparation time. Directly is the strongest attack. 100 giant dragons, combined with hundreds of undead armies summoned by Andre, rushed straight to the mine. The remaining defenders in the mine had no choice but to prepare to fight, but how can they be the opponents of the giant dragons when their strength decreases again and again? As soon as the two sides meet, they are defeated in an instant. The undead are not opponents at all, and they are defeated by the dragon. Suyi rode blazing, drove straight in, and rushed to the front. The fearless field was opened, and the attributes of the giant dragons flying around him were doubled, and their health value reached millions, or even millions. It looks like a bloody cow, with a defense power of up to tens of thousands. In spite of, is it an undead mage, or other undead monsters, or even the strongest defender here, the hell three-headed dog? Their attacks fell on the dragons, like scratching an itch, without any effect. As a result, the battle appears to be one-sided. A dozen necromancers saw it. Shit. This situation is not right. The one in the lead grasped the death side and made a decisive decision. Hurry up, Hexagram, summon the bone demon, and then go to inform Earl Angus. That's right, it's still Earl Angus, and all the mines in this area belong to him. When the necromancers around heard this order, how dare they neglect it? One by one, they frantically set up their formations and summoned the bone demon. In an instant, more than 20 bone demons appeared out of thin air in the open space outside the mine. Fight with a dragon. At the same time, the necromancer who was ordered to inform Earl Angus also set off, turned into a black shadow, escaped from the detection of Suyi and others, got out of the encirclement, and went straight to the north. Suyi and the others did not notice this scene at this moment. They have already gained the upper hands in this battle. Even the necromancers have summoned dozens of skull demons, but this is not a big problem for the dragons, who have long been used to fighting against necromancers and bone demons. According to their previous combat experience, the dragons quickly found the existence of the necromancer. Then, without saying a word, he directly launched a fierce attack. The necromancers had no choice but to resist the crazy attack of the dragon. In a matter of minutes, most of the people were killed or injured. Necromancers burp, and the bone demons they summon are naturally useless. It fell apart directly with a click, turning into broken bones. The battle lasted for 40 minutes, and it was over. The garrison in the entire mine has been completely even. Those mining creatures, none of them were spared, and all of them died after finishing these. Suyi and others jumped off the dragon's back, scanning the empty mines around. Suyi looked at his watch, and made a decisive decision. It's not too late, let's go in quickly, do a search and leave. Vulcan, banners. And Andre naturally had no objections, and quickly followed behind Suyi. A group of 4 broke into the mine and began to search around in the warehouses in front of the mine. There are piles of hell rock crystal ore. Banner's eyes lit up when he saw it. He threw himself on the pile of ore and rubbed hard twice. Suyi looked at this guy's stinky fart, stepped forward and kicked. Don't be impatient, work quickly, pack your things and leave. Banners rubbed his old bones that were almost kicked to pieces, and looked at Suyi resentfully. Lord, after all, I am quite old. Is it really nice of you to treat me like this? Suyi gave Banners a look back. Then do you still want to take these things back? When Banners heard this, he didn't even think about it, and said directly, of course I did. Then hurry up and do it. Suyi urged. As he said that, he began to throw a lot of ore into the space of the Lord. The same goes for Vulcan and Andre. Seeing this scene, Banners was not far behind, and hurriedly followed 4 people. 4 together. Start cleaning warehouse number 1, evacuated in 20 minutes. Warehouse number 2, Number 2. Evacuated in 20 minutes. Warehouse number 3 was at a time when Suyi and the others were transporting Hell Rock crystal ore. Chapter 207. The necromancer who escaped from that mine has returned to Earl Angus headquarters. It was a big city, a really big city. Even Suyi's star domain is a bit insignificant in front of this giant city. In the center of the giant city, inside a castle with a spire similar to the Middle Europe of the Earth, a man in a red and black robe is sitting on the throne. It is said to be human, but it seems very strange, tall and slender, with fair skin, sickly white. It would not be an exaggeration to say that he has no blood. The lips were so red that they looked like they had been smeared with blood. 2 sharp white teeth protruded halfway from the mouth and visibly enhanced the beauty of this person. This one is the Earl of Angus, who is also the master of this giant city. At this moment, the undead mage who reported the message ran in from the door in panic, and threw himself on the red carpet of the hall. When Angus saw this scene, his sickly pale face was a little displeased. "Do you know what a sin it is to disturb Earl Angus' pleasure?" Angus scolded. The necromancer trembled and kowtowed a few times on the red carpet. "Please forgive me, Earl Angus. I have something urgent to report to you. Speak quickly if you have something to say, and let go of your fart," Angus urged angrily. The necromancer settled his mind and blurted out, "Earl Angus, the number 5 mine is under attack." As soon as these words came out, Angus froze, and stood up from the throne the next moment. And the 2 sharp white teeth protruding from the air suddenly became longer. Those dark red pupils also instantly turned red. The cloak behind him automatically appeared in front of the necromancer with a whoosh. The frail palm with long nails lifted it up. "Who did you say did it, Gert? Or Sheila?" Chapter 313. The human lord with the giant dragon. The necromancer shook his head in horror, tremblingly said, "None of them. They are human beings." Hearing this, Angus became even more angry, and grabbed the neck of the necromancer in front of him. Under the tremendous force, the necromancer's neck was pinched and creaked, making one's scalp numb. "If you use a little more force, the bones will be broken into powder." "Humans, how could they appear in hell? Also, you are really capable, and you can even be attacked by humans," Angus scolded. The necromancer's body twitched, and his hoarse voice seemed very weak. "No, Earl Angus, that human has a dragon with him." Angus' face changed slightly. "Dragon?" But at the next moment, Angus's face returned to ice cold, and a murderous aura filled his whole body. "HMPH, even a giant dragon, if it comes to my territory, it will die." After finishing speaking, Angus, who was full of hostility, exerted force on his arm. With a click, the necromancer and his hands let out a muffled groan. His neck was cut off, and he collapsed to the ground limply, throwing the corpse aside as if throwing a piece of rag. Angus quickly walked towards the outside of the hall. Tuxedo cloak behind it automatically without wind. A cold, hazy breath enveloped its whole body. "Angus, I'm angry. Mere humans dare to covet its mines. If it doesn't do something, don't be laughed out of the castle by the other rulers of hell." Angus raised his arms and shouted in the giant city. Dense footsteps and roars sounded. In just a moment, tens of thousands of troops appeared in the open space of the city. Among them are the 8th level hell 3-headed dog, as well as various high-level undead monsters such as abominations. At this moment, under the order of Angus, all set off and went straight to the number 5 mine. Angus himself summoned a pair of wings from behind, flew to the middle head of an extraordinarily huge 3-headed hellhound, and stood there. Scarlet eyes stared straight ahead. Not long after leaving the city, the army encountered another necromancer. It was Lauren, who was attacked by Suyi and others at the beginning. It took a long time for this guy to make up his mind to report to Angus after he found out that he was being tricked this trip. It almost came with the determination to die. Little did they know that just halfway there, they saw Angus rushing towards here with a large army. Immediately paled in fright, hastily passed through the army and reported to Angus. Then it got its wish and followed in the footsteps of the necromancer, just now choked to death by Angus and thrown by the side of the road. "Useless trash," Angus scolded angrily. The order was given to speed up the march. Tens of thousands of troops marched straight to the number 5 mine. At the same time, inside the 5th mine, the 4 of Suyi were walking around. "Damn, it's a lie. Didn't you say that there's a blasting gem? Why didn't we see any of it?" Banners grumbled. "4 people have been here for a long time, and almost searched the entire mine, but I didn't even see the shadow of the explosive flame gem." Yu was also a little puzzled. He has already learned from the necromancer before that this mine is indeed explosive gemstone, but now I can't find it. Could it be that guy is deceiving himself? It's impossible to even think about it. At what time? He still has the heart to say this kind of lie. "Look again. If there is no one, we will leave," Suyi said in a low voice. Although the explosive flame gem is precious, Suyi doesn't want to delay the time for himself and others to escape from hell because of this thing. When Banners and the others heard the words, They nodded and scattered to search. Suyi walked all the way to the depths of the mine. With the blaze in front of you is a railway track leading to an underground mine. There are still several mine carts standing on the railroad tracks. From the looks of it, it should be a mine cart that just drove up from the mine not long ago. There are some ores and dirt piled up on it. Curious. Suyi stepped up to the mine cart and took a look. It doesn't matter if you don't look at it. Once you look at it, you will immediately. It attracted Suyi's gaze. It was only seen in those minicarts under the cover of the soil. A scorching breath burst out. It was only because of the cover of other ores and mud that this scorching ore was hidden. If you don't look closely, you really can't see anything. Suyi clenched the flowing light sword tightly, and lifted the ore in the mine cart. Sure enough, under the soil, what was covered were pieces of fiery red stones without the cover of the mud and other ores. Scorching air waves hit the face. Very hot. Suyi's eyes lit up, and he thought in his heart that this should be the explosive flame gem. In order to verify his conjecture, Suyi threw out a detection skill. Soon, those fiery red stone messages appeared in his mind. Explosive flame gem description: the crystal of fire condensed by absorbing the essence of earth. Fire has a very rich and powerful fire energy, which can be used to melt and cast equipment and enhance the ability of fire attribute units. Seeing this description, Suyi laughed, immediately shouted, "Come here, things." Here they are. Vulcan, Banners, and Andre, who were scattered in all directions, rushed towards this side. After hearing this, then they saw the explosive flame gem that Suyi discovered. All three eyes were straight, especially Vulcan and Banners. If it weren't for the temperature of this explosive gemstone being too high, the two of them were probably going to pick up the gem and rub it on their faces. Wow, Kaka, getting rich, so many explosive gems. Vulcan laughed. Suyi cast a glance at the three of them. Okay, stop talking nonsense. The portal will close in an hour. Take these things away. After all, Suyi took the lead in putting the explosive flame gem into his lord's space. Vulcan, Banners, and Andrew followed suit, but when the four of them were holding the explosive flame gem, Blazing, who was guarding outside the mine, suddenly ran in. Suyi thought this guy was attracted by the fire energy of the explosive flame gem, so he didn't pay much attention to it. But blazing doesn't mean that. A pair of huge long eyes gave Suyi a light of humanity. Chapter 314. When Angus arrives, will he fight or retreat? One more subscription. Seeing Chilai showing this expression, Suyi felt something was wrong from the bottom of his heart. You mean something is approaching this way? Suyi asked. The fiery and huge faucet tapped hard, and a slight whining sound came out of its mouth. Chapter 208. Suyi knew that Blazing's perception was very keen, and since it sensed that something was approaching this way, there must be something approaching this way. Quick, get your things, let's get out of here. Suyi immediately ordered. Vulcan, Banners, and Andre nodded 3 times, and quickly put the remaining blasting gems into their respective spaces. Then he followed behind Suyi and ran towards the outside of the mine. But just as the four of them left the mine, they saw dense footsteps coming from a distance at the end of the field of vision that four were looking at. A sky full of dust appeared. It seems that there is a large army coming here. Suyi frowned, and quickly rode on. Blazing, it doesn't matter, let's go first. Andre, Vulcan and others followed suit. They rode on the giant dragon one after another, preparing to retreat, but the speed at which the army came was somewhat beyond Suyi's prediction. For some four just took to the air. The army in the direction of Yangchen has already arrived, densely packed. Thousands or even tens of thousands of gargoyles soared into the sky, flying towards Suyi and the others. The sharp and ear-piercing calls of those guys seemed to have some kind of special magical power, which reached the ears of Suyi and the others, giving the four of them some headaches, especially Vulcan. He is the weakest, almost didn't fall off the dragon's back. Seeing that the situation was not good, Suyi quickly ordered to retreat. But how could Angus, who just arrived, let such a thing happen? After seeing Suyi and others riding a giant dragon, the corners of Angus's scarlet lips raised a strange and cold arc. It's really human. Counting the time, it seems that I haven't tasted the taste of human blood for hundreds of years. Tisk tisk tisk, I miss it so much. As he spoke, Angus' tone changed, becoming cold as a blade. Let's go together, be sure to catch them all. With an order, the tens of thousands of troops brought by Angus rushed towards the dragon like crazy. The extraordinarily huge 3-headed hellhound that Angus sat on was not to be outdone with a movement of limbs. He has already rushed out, take Angus, and quickly approached the dragon. This scene fell into the eyes of Suyi and the others in the air. It made several people's faces change slightly. Lord, fight or retreat? Banners asked in his hands. He has already taken out a lot of explosive number 22. Be ready to drop these capsules to the dead army below. Suyi glanced at his watch. There were still 20 minutes left before the door closed. Time is running out, and it seems unrealistic to fight the army of undead. Withdraw. don't love to fight, then bear the brunt and fly in the direction of the portal. The three of Vulcan hurriedly followed. Other giant dragons followed behind Suyi one after another. Seeing this, Angus ordered the pursuit. The gargoyle army that was already very close to the dragon rushed forward immediately. These rock-skinned guys aren't slow. The seventh order monster pounced up at this moment. Fighting with a giant dragon, Suyi had no choice but to retreat while fighting back. The undead army on the ground took this opportunity to close the distance with the dragon at the beginning of the attack. Various long-range attack skills are issued from the mouth of these undead, directly attacking the giant dragon in the sky. Even Angus himself waved his pale and bloodless palm, summoning a bloody mist, which spread towards the sky. But all the undead who came into contact with the blood mist have greatly increased in strength, and can be immune to the deterrence of the giant dragon. Needless to say, this blood mist must have the same skill as Suyi's fearless domain lord skill that can enhance the attributes of allies and is immune to deterrence effects. Watching all kinds of monsters rushing from the sky, Suyi frowned and fought back. Banners was not idle either. He took out hundreds of explosive number 22s and stuffed them into Vulcan's hands. The two went to the monster army together. The sounds of explosions, roars, and screams all mixed together, making one's scalp tingle. The dragons began to retreat. Angus chased after him. He suddenly realized that he seemed to have underestimated the strength of Suyi and the others. He was able to survive his own siege with ease. This seems to have violated Angus' bottom line, the guy roared, and a pair of bat-like wings appeared behind him with a light wave. This guy soared into the sky and came straight to Suyi. Suyi was observing the situation on the battlefield all the time, and when he saw Angus rushing towards him, he frowned. Chilai also noticed this scene, and when Angus approached, he breathed out a dragon's breath with a puff. Angus' figure was swallowed by the dragon's breath. Disappear soon. A trace of disdain flashed in the fiery eyes, as if to say, this hell monarch is too weak. But is that really the case? Of course not. For example, Suyi, he didn't think Angus would die so soon, so keep an eye on your surroundings. Sure enough, 2 seconds after Angus was burned to ashes with a blazing dragon's breath, Angus' voice sounded again above Suyi's head. Hey, human, who gave you the guts to break into my territory? The voice was mocking. It was as if Angus had already eaten Suyi. While Suyi looked up, he raised the streamer in his hand. There was a click. The streamer in Suyi's hand collided with a blood-red dagger in Angus's hand, making a crisp sound. Suyi only felt a huge force coming, and his arms were instantly numb. Facing Angus' eyes, Suyi sensed boundless murderous intent from Angus' eyes. Few blazing wings retracted, leading Suyi down several meters, temporarily separating Suyi and Angus from the battle. By the way, speed up and get out of Angus' attack range. Behind, Angus folded his hands on his chest, with a sneer in his face. This is my territory. I would like to see where you can escape to. Chapter 315, Leaving Hell, Threatening. Second watch subscription. A fierce battle has broken out, except for Suyi. The other giant dragons have already fought with a gargoyle. Those guys are not weak, and the number is very large. Although he was no match for the dragons, he managed to delay the retreat of the dragons for a while. This made Suyi a little worried. The current him doesn't want to fight. It doesn't mean he doesn't dare to fight, but he can't fight. The closing time of the portal is imminent. If you can't leave here before the closing of the portal, then Suyi might really have to stay and fight hard with Angus' army. What the outcome will be then, no one can say. The most important thing is once Suyi fails to leave hell this time, one can imagine the difficulties in returning to Earth, and that Angus seems to have decided on Suyi along the way. He pursued Suyi relentlessly. This annoyed Suyi a little. Had to write a blazing counterattack. The two sides could not stop fighting, and the fight was inextricable. Time passed minute by minute. The time until the portal closes is rapidly ticking away. With the last 3 minutes remaining, Suyi finally brought the dragons to the vicinity of the portal. Looking at the portal not far away, a fierce look flashed in Suyi's eyes, and Angus, he is not stupid, also discovered the existence of the portal. The Scarlet Eyes suddenly realized, so, I will tell you how you got in. Ha ha ha, I discovered this secret. Now, I will destroy the portal, and you will stay in hell for the rest of your life. Angus laughed wildly, and even gave up attacking Suyi, but turned around and headed straight for the portal together with a huge hell three-headed dog running wildly on the ground. Anyway, Suyi can't be killed for a while now, so it's better to destroy the portal first. At that time, Angus will have enough time to take care of Suyi. Slowly. Good plan. And Suyi, seeing that Angus wanted to destroy the portal, was also furious in his heart. Damn, the portal can be destroyed. As long as the durability of the portal is knocked down, the portal will disappear. At that time, I am afraid that I will really stay in hell. How can this kind of thing happen? Thinking of this, Suyi immediately ordered, shrink the formation, gather all units, and protect the portal. With an order, the giant dragon spreading all over the battlefield quickly gave up the battle in hand and flew towards Suyi. Then, Together with Suyi, they went straight to the portal at the same time. Angus and the three-headed dog have rushed to the portal, even attacking the portal already. Suyi arrived with a dragon army. Chapter 209. Starts attacking. Angus, the extraordinarily huge three-headed hell dog, after investigation, is the leader of the three-headed hell dog. It is very powerful and has millions of lives. Suyi ordered Blazing to attack and he himself began to take back the other dragons scattered on the battlefield to the unit ring. There's no way, the portal can't directly transfer the troops. Suyi has only one way to take these giant dragons out of here, that is to put them all in the troop ring, then take it out. A giant dragon was reinstalled. Suyi's lineup began to shrink, and Blazing, it really deserves to be called Blazing under Suyi's death order. The attack was very crazy. All of a sudden, the hell three-headed dog was severely suppressed, even got a half shot. Angus was no exception, retreating steadily under the blazing pressure. Suyi, Banners, Vulcan, and Andre 4 have already met in front of the portal at this moment. There is still 1 minute left before the portal disappears. The situation is very urgent. Quick retreat, you go out first, Suyi shouted. Banners, Vulcan, and Andre 3 yelled, Lord, you go first, my queen. Andre yelled, hold a long spear in your hand and resist the three-headed hellhound that is approaching. Seeing this, Suyi cursed angrily, get the fuck out of the portal, I have a way to get out. Banners, Vulcan, and Andre were a little worried, but they still chose to obey Suyi's order and entered the portal one by one. Seeing these people evacuate, Angus' eyes were tearing. Start a crazy attack. Seeing that the timing was almost up, Suyi waved his hand and called Zhi, lie back to the unit ring. Then he flipped his hand and took out a scroll of forbidden spells. Open it directly and throw it under your feet at the same time. Suyi stepped into the portal that was closed in 3 seconds. He looked at Angus with a relaxed face. The latter seemed to have not reacted from Suyi's operation until the portal starts to shrink and disappear. Only then did Angus laugh back in anger, and looked at Suyi, who was inside the narrowing portal. Boy, I, Angus, have already remembered you. Get ready to welcome the arrival of my army of undead. The voice fell, and the portal closed. The scroll of forbidden spell that Suyi threw before leaving has also been activated. The ground centered on the scroll of forbidden spells cracked one after another. Hot and viscous lava emerged from the bottom of the ground, carrying an extremely high temperature. Some undead monsters that were too close to dodge had no time to dodge, and were burned straight. Injuries continued to pop out of the top of the head, and many people were killed or injured. This made Angus furious again. Never before has any human being made him so embarrassed. Suyi is definitely the first on the other side. Gold mine number 2, territory 2. Eve has been waiting here for a long time. At this moment, seeing that the existence time of the portal is approaching 0000, Eve's whole heart is lifted. Why haven't you come out yet, don't you? Even though she was thinking this way in her heart, Eve couldn't believe it on her face. She shook her head and muttered to herself, no, they will definitely come out. Before I finished speaking, the portal in front of me burst out bright light. Immediately afterwards, only a few swishing sounds were heard. Suyi, Andre, Vulcan, and Banners, 4, have fallen out of the portal. Seeing this, Eve's heart relaxed, and she threw herself into Suyi's arms. Why did you come back? I thought you were there. Chapter 316. Are you teaching me how to do things? Third watch for subscription, begging for flowers, begging for tickets, begging for everything. Suyi patted Eve's shoulder in fear to comfort him. It's nothing, I just encountered some small troubles. Eve sniffled, broke free from Suyi's arms, took a few steps back, and looked up and down. Suyi, after making sure that the latter was really alright, she finally let go of all her suspense after simply exchanging pleasantries with Eve. Suyi understood. After I and others entered hell, the gold mine defense line here was once again attacked by monsters. Fortunately, the defense line of the gold mine has become very complete under the previous construction of Eve and Andre. As long as it is not a huge wave of monsters, it is impossible to break through the defense line, so it's a no-brainer. After listening to Eve's report, Suyi coughed lightly. Okay, let's go back now, it's time to get busy. Saying that, Suyi looked at Banners. The meaning in his eyes was self-evident. Banners has blueprints for the Doomsday mech, and the guy says that only he can make it before going to hell. The Doomsday armor is still short of materials now. After going to hell, all the materials needed for the Doomsday armor are ready. It is indeed time for Banners to show his ambitions. Banners understood Suyi's words, nodded heavily, and slapped his chest loudly. Don't worry, wrap it on me. Then, Suyi prepared to take Banners away, but at this moment, Andre, who had been silent since he came back, suddenly spoke. Lord, please wait a moment. Suyi frowned, and looked back at Andre. What's wrong? Andre raised his head. Under the black helmet, 2 faint blue soul flames flickered and burned, Lord, do you still remember what that vampire said before we left? Suyi reacted instantly after being reminded by Andre before leaving. What the vampire said. Andre was referring to Angus. It said it would send a great army down. Andrea continued as soon as the words fell. Suyi still hadn't opened his mouth. Banners behind him was the first to speak out and sneered. Isn't it just a dead bat? Let it come. When my Doomsday Mecha comes out, I promise to beat his shit out. Seeing Banner's foolish look, the fire of soul in Andre's eye sockets trembled violently a few times. No, I don't think we should take it lightly. That's the Earl of Angus. Seeing what Andre said so seriously, Suyi was taken aback, and quickly asked, is there anything special about him? Now, Andre was silent for a long time, as if he was recalling some things deep in his memory. After a long time, it whispered, in my memory, it is very strong. Anyway, we should be more careful. The expression in Suyi's eyes changed. He knew Andre very well. It is different from Banners and Vulcan. Those two guys are sometimes very unreliable, the kind full of cowhide, but Andre won't. It has the poise of a king and never brag and exaggerate, since it even said so. Then Angus, I am afraid it is true. Has a problem thinking of this. Suyi nodded solemnly. Okay, I see. After finishing speaking, Suyi looked at the others again. Anyway, until we are strong enough, everyone, be careful not to capsize in the gutter. Then, Suyi arranged some other things, and left with Banners. The two rode on the giant dragon and rushed towards the star field one after the other. On the way home, Banners didn't seem to care about what Andre said just now, and said with some disdain, Lord, you don't really believe Andre's words, that Angus will invade here? Suyi glanced at Banners, and said coldly, it's better to believe it than to believe it. You'd better put away your contempt, otherwise, you will suffer. Hearing Suyi's lecture-like words, Banners was a little speechless. Come on, how old are you? You are teaching me how to do things without saying a word. And the two of them successfully returned to the star field. It is now noon. The sun is shining high. As soon as Banners landed, he rushed to his own laboratory and started working behind closed doors. Suyi didn't disturb the old guy's enthusiasm, went back to the private house to wash up, and then went to sleep. He hasn't had a good rest for more than a day and a night. He's tired. The next day, Suyi made arrangements for the Star Domain territory, then stepped through the portal and went to the Dryad territory. By the way, Suyi hasn't been here since the last time I helped Tsukainer bring back the 8th level beast summoner. Now, he happened to come over to check the situation when he came out of the portal again. Suyi had already appeared in the Tree Demon's territory. I never thought that after not coming for so many days, this place has changed. The geographical location of the Dryad's territory is not bad, with mountains to the north and west, which are natural barriers. Only the east and south, connected to the plain, are the areas where monsters invade the most, and the Tree Demon's territory has not changed since Suyi took over. With the growth of the territory level and the growth of the peak population in the territory, the location of the Tree Demon's territory is gradually not enough. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210. This is a big problem. Suyi only remembered that he raised his voice when he came last time unexpectedly. What I said casually became Tsukainer's order. No, this little girl is expanding the territory now. The main direction of expansion is the south, and the terrain in that direction is flat, which is perfect for building the territory. The entire city wall was pushed horizontally for 1,000 meters towards the south, then use the resources to rebuild the walls and to ensure the smooth running of the project. On the outermost edge of the city wall, there are more than 1,000 summoners wearing animal skin stationed there. The beasts summoned by these guys formed a circle outside the city walls, surrounded by walls. Seeing this scene, Suyi felt a little funny. He rode blazing and flew towards that side. Suzuki, who was working as a supervisor below, seemed to hear the sound of flapping wings above her head. Hastily looked up when he saw that the person who came was Suyi. She was overjoyed. Chapter 317, Rebuilding the Territory of the Dryad. As soon as Suyi jumped off Chili's back, Suzuki grabbed her arm. Brother, you came just in time. Look at me, I'm fine. As she said that, Suzuki pointed to the city wall that was being expanded in front of her as if asking for credit. Suyi glanced at it and nodded. No problem, very good. Tsukainer giggled. When I redesigned the Tree Demon's territory, the food production here can at least be doubled, and then the Sky Alliance will no longer be short of food. Hearing Suzuki's words, Suyi's expression turned pale. I was even more moved indeed. Since Suya handed over the tree demon territory to Sukainer, he seldom asks about food matters anymore, so in the past few months, Sukainer has been worrying about food issues in the Dryad territory, the Star Domain territory, and even the Sky Alliance with the current Star Domain territory, Dryad territory, Galaxy territory, and Goldmine defense line growing stronger. More and more food will be needed. The current food production in the Dryad territory alone is almost unable to keep up. Therefore, the expansion and production increase of the Tree Demon's territory is a matter of determination. Thinking of this, Suya's heart moved slightly, and he turned to look at Suzir. Do you want to do it in one step? Suzir gave a glance. As if she didn't understand the meaning of Suya's words, Suya scanned the surrounding land. His eyes were shining brightly. If you don't do it, you will keep on doing it. Since you have done it, how about making it bigger and enclosing the territory of the Tree Demon? Suya said as soon as the words fell. Suzir's eyes lit up. How could she not want to enclose the territory of the Tree Demon in a larger area? But the problem is that resources are not allowed. Enclosure. The most important thing is the city wall. Yes, it is the city wall. Only the area you surround with the city wall is considered your territory. You can build city walls, but you need a lot of resources, especially stone mines. This is one of the most important materials for building city walls, and the consumption is very large. Even Suzir, who has a big family and a big business, can't bear it, so it can only be expanded little by little. Now, Suya's words rekindled the desire in Suzir's heart. She put her arms around Suya's neck. Brother, are you going to invest in me? The corners of Suya's lips twitched. It's not an investment. I just don't want my soldiers to have nothing to eat. Indeed, food is a big problem in the previous life. It was in the middle of the feudal era. How many lords have no shortage of resources and land, but they are only stuck in the link of food. There are not many ways to obtain food produced in the secret realm, planted by yourself, and purchased in the market. The food produced in the secret realm is very limited. After raising a large number of high-level troops in your territory, it is normal for them to be insufficient. As for planting yourself, you need two pieces. The first is Dryad, and the second is fertilizer. If any one of the two conditions is lacking, the food production will be greatly reduced, and it will not meet the expected requirements. Finally, buy from the market. Sorry, food is different from wood, stone, or and other resources. The sale of food can only be carried out by the Lord. What's the meaning? What? That is to say, there is no food for sale in the mall of the system. Some only have food seeds, and if you want to buy food, you can only buy it from other lords. In this way, one can imagine how high its price is. So, no matter is it the early, middle, or late period of the feudal era, grain storage is done correctly. If there is no food, you will die, and this is also the reason why Suya strongly supported Sukainer. After seeing that Sukainer wanted to expand the Tree Demon's territory with this idea in mind, the next step is to implement it. Suya was not ambiguous, and immediately traded to Suzir 1 billion stone mines and 500 million timber and iron ores for the gold coins. Ahem, this Suya himself is not enough. With Suya's resource supply, Suzir spent another 300,000 coins and exchanged several hundred million gold coins in the system wall. Then, the expansion of the Dryad's territory began. It is exactly the same as the original Star Domain. Suya served as the commander-in-chief surrounding the entire valley where the Dryad territory exists. Mountains to the north and west, respectively, build a city wall that winds like a dragon. Then there are the south and east sides, all facing outwards, 3 kilometers across. As a result, the area of the Dryad's territory has been expanded by at least 10 times compared to before. The previously impenetrable territory now appears extremely empty once the enclosure is complete. The next step is construction. Start with the lowest level of city walls first and upgrade to level 2, upgrade to level 3 all the way to 5th grade. Suzir's resources are now successful. Level 5 city wall. The level is not high, but the durability is as high as millions, and it can withstand many monsters. Today is the 10th day since Suya came to the Tree Demon territory. The construction of the 5th level city wall is completed. Under Suzir's order, 1,000 beast summoners climbed onto the city wall, and together with more than 30 giant dragons, began patrolling around the city wall due to lack of resources. The city walls first built in the Dryad territory were not equipped with defensive weapons. This can only wait for the next step. At this moment, the Lord Hall of the Dryad territory, Suya and Suzir sat facing each other. Suya is checking the basic information of the Dryad's territory. Dryad territory, level 6 territory, with a peak population of 5,000. Currently, there are 156 Dryads and 100 beast summoners. In addition, there are some low-level units such as earth dragons, snow monsters, thunder spirits, and orcs. The number adds up to more than 600. This is the entire force of the Tree Demon territory. After reading it, Suya gave Sukainer 3 points. Suggestion first, put all the resources obtained next into the construction of Lingshan to increase the output of food. Second, train the Dryad vigorously, and prepare for the construction of the Lingshan. Third, after there are enough spirit fields and Dryads, start to strengthen the defense of the Dryad's territory, that is to train combat arms such as beast summoners, and install city defense weapons on the city walls, etc. Chapter 318 Pseudo 9th-tier Armor, Doomsday Mecha Sukainers 3 points to Suyi. Keep it in mind and immediately start it. After all, it takes at least 20 days from planting to harvesting the spiritual wheat that produces food. This is one of them. Second, the plots where the Dryad's territory has been expanded are ordinary plots that have not undergone any transformation in this kind of land. The time for planting Lingmei will be greatly increased, and the yield will also be greatly reduced. It will take a lot of effort and time to cultivate these plots into real spiritual fields. So, now that the plan has started, there should be no delay. Immediately implement. As for resources, you can only use currency exchange and search for various secret realms first after staying in the Tree Demon territory for more than 10 days. Chapter 211. Suyi took Sukainer back to the star field and we went to the Orange Secret Realm together, searched for all the resources in the resource points inside, and brought them back to the Dryad's territory. As for Suyi herself, after Sukainer returned to the Dryad's territory, she stayed in the Starfield territory. This day was also the third day after Suyi returned to the Starfield. Banners, who has been working behind closed doors, suddenly came out of the laboratory at the same time. There was a huge movement. Suyi was awakened immediately, and without saying a word, he got dressed and rushed to the outer city. After arriving at the place, Suyi saw it in front of Banners. An iron bump over 5 meters tall appeared. It looks like the Transformers in the movie of Civilization period. The shell of the whole body armor is shining with a heavy steel color. At the moment under the orders of Banners is sitting. Some simple movements between body movements. There was a creaking sound, which made Suyi's teeth a little sore. When Sushi saw Suyi approaching, Banners quickly ran over, stood still in front of Suyi, pointed at the iron bump and bluffed, "Lord, this is the end mecha." Suyi raised his brows. This means that the Doomsday mecha looks decent, but it doesn't know how powerful it is at that moment. Suyi wandered around this thing, checking its attribute information, as follows: Doomsday mecha, level 9. Level 9, no health points. 200,000 attack power. 80 defense power. 85 speed. 35 skills, Iron Fist Explosion, shake the head and bombard the enemy in front of you. With great strength, it can cause huge damage to the enemy and add 30% of the effect of Breaking 5 effect, ignores 30% defense. Iron Cannon, open the baffle on the chest, stretch out the barrel, and bombard the designated target, causing super high damage, and has a 50% additional burning effect. Burning effect, burn 3% of the maximum health per second, last for 3 seconds. 3. Can be superimposed to 3 layers. Self-explosion by death, all body parts of the Doomsday armor are equipped with high explosives. When necessary in battle, the high explosives in the body parts can be ignited, which can cause huge destructive power and carry out a devastating blow to the target. This skill is irreversible and can only be used once. Control immunity, Doomguard is an inanimate body, has no soul, no autonomous consciousness, and can be immune to all mental controls. Effect description: there is a super combat machine developed by the leaders of the Mechanical Kingdom. It has a combat effectiveness comparable to that of the 9th rank and 9 arms, and is 100% loyal. It will never have to worry about betrayal. The only disadvantage is that it cannot be upgraded. Seeing this attribute information, Suyi was stunned. This is what the Doomsday armor has to say: very powerful, really powerful in spite of whether it is analyzed from attributes or skills. This is a powerful unit. However, this unit has a fatal flaw, that is, it cannot be upgraded. Yes, it is impossible to upgrade. Everyone knows that in the Age of Lords, almost all arms are flesh and blood life forms, and even arms like Wraith Souls also have independent consciousness. Their individuals can grow in battle, and then upgrade to become stronger, but the arms of the Mechanical Kingdom cannot. For example, the Doomsday armor in front of you has no level setting. No matter how many battles you experience, no matter how many monsters you kill, it is impossible to upgrade, and this is the fatal flaw of this type of mechanical arms. But having said that, even if they can't be upgraded, they can become stronger in the future. These iron bumps with a strength comparable to the 9th rank and 9 arms are still the treasures of the treasures, at least for now. Moreover, these guys are not useless. Are they super thick, high health, high defense, high damage, speed is not bad, and loyalty is 100%, definitely a good helper for the nursing home. Looking at the skills of these guys, They are quite impressive. Iron Fist Explosion, a melee skill, should be similar to fighting. After continuous attacks, it can also trigger the armor-piercing effect. Iron Cannon, long-range skills, bombards long-distance targets, and can also add burning effects. Self-explosion upon death, disassemble your own body, or detonate the whole body, and die together with the enemy, causing super high damage. Suyi felt that this skill matched well with the Doomsday mecha. After all, these guys can't upgrade, can't become stronger, and they won't be so distressed if they blew themselves up. The last skill is also the essence immune to any mind control effect. This one is perfect and works great in battle. When Suyi checked the information, Banner stayed by the side. Seeing Suyi at this moment should be enough to see. Immediately he asked, How? But it's okay. Suyi pulled her thoughts back to reality, and nodded heavily. Yes, it's perfect. Energy production. Banners laughed and put his hands on his waist. Give me another 20 days, and I will build a production line. When Suyi heard this, his eyes lit up. Production line. This is a good thing. As soon as the production line comes out, it means that the star domain has a steady stream of mecha guards. Most importantly, because these guys were created by Banners, they don't need to spend the gold coin resources of the star domain. All you need is wood, stone ore, iron ore, hell rock crystals, explosive gemstones, etc. Attachment. This work comes from the internet in published books. The work is only for readers to preview. Please delete it within 24 hours of downloading. It cannot be used for commercial purposes. If you think this book is good, please buy the genuine book. Thank you for your support to the author. Key points. I hope you can keep this paragraph if you reprint it. It's a bit hard to organize, but retention is a virtue. Chapter 319. The event starts. The Lord fights for hegemony. Subscription for the third watch. If you only need these things, it will be much simpler at that time. When the materials are gone, Suyi will take people to hell to grab a wave. After accepting the research results of Banners, Suyi turned around and returned to the inner city. After the Lord's Hall, the portal leading to the northern Red Rose territory has been completed. Of course, it's only one-sided. Suyi's side has been finished, but Yafai's side is still under construction. Therefore, the portal is temporarily unavailable. After checking the progress of the construction, Suyi returned to the Lord's Hall and began to prepare for the next plan. Now, the time has gradually entered the middle of the Lord era. Basically everything that should have appeared has also appeared, and in the middle of the Lord Age, there will be a crucial turning point. This is the second chance for all human lords to stand up. Seizing this opportunity firmly is the most important thing. Counting the time, this opportunity will almost appear. Suyi thought so, lying on the throne and closing his eyes to meditate. Time flies. It is more than 10 days later. In the past 10 days, everything in the star field has been developing as usual. Suyi's daily task is to go around the star field and then go to the gold mine, take the collected gold coins back to the star domain and throw them into the dragon's nest. In more than 10 days, Suyi had already owned more than 1,500 giant dragons. It was like a huge army on Banner's side. The progress is also very smooth with Suyi, a rich man, providing resource and material support. The old guy can do it with confidence. In just 15 days, a production line was created. The Doomsday armor was officially put into mass production. The Doomsday mechas were produced one by one, and placed in the large warehouse specially built by Suyi in the outer city, arranged neatly. At first glance, it looks like that finally, there is the portal leading to the territory of the Red Rose. It's finally finished, and on this day, it was officially put into use. Yafai brought Hozuki to visit. Passing through the portal, the two came from the Red Rose realm to the Starfield realm. With a whoosh, looking at the magnificent scene in front of him, he felt a little dazed. Sister Faye. This is the headquarters of the Sky Alliance, right? Zilking clicked her tongue a little. Yafai didn't speak, but just played Joe curiously. To be honest, it was also the first time for her to come to this place. Everywhere looked very strange. After hesitating for a while, Yafai finally said, Let's go find the leader. Saying that, the two walked towards the Lord's Hall together. At the same time, there are quite a few people sitting around in the Lord's Hall. Suyi, Suzier, Eve, and Lin Yangxi were all present, and even Duan Qinglian, Feng Yun and others were present. Everyone sat around and listened attentively to Suyi's speech. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps coming from outside the door of the Lord's Hall attracted the attention of several people in the hall. Suyi looked up and happened to see Yafai. He and Hozuki stood outside the door. Alliance leader, Yafai dragged Hozuki to salute quickly, but Eve, Lin Yangxi and the others all cast their gazes towards Yafai in the field, except for Suyi herself and Eve. No one else has met Yafai yet. I just know that in the Sky Alliance, there is a territory called Red Rose, and the lord of this territory is Yafai. Could it be that this is the one in front of you? Suyu was not surprised to see Yafai at this time, and waved his hand and said, "It's just in time, come in." Yafai nodded, and led Hozuking into the hall. Then, Suyu began to introduce Yafai's identity to everyone one by one. After everyone got to know each other, they sat down again. Suyu was not ambiguous, and continued after everyone sat down. "Now that all the leaders of the Sky Alliance are here, then, I will make a long story short." Chapter 212. With that said, Suyu looked at Yafai. She was the last to come, so naturally she needs special care. "In the past 3 days, I believe that everyone has more or less received some news about Lord Contest," Suyu continued, "and so it is 3 days ago, most of the lords received a message. The content of the message is very clear, that is to say that an event called Lord Contest is about to start, so that all the lords should be prepared and so on." Suzu, Lin Yangxi and others were puzzled. That's why they came together to ask Suyu, "What is this lord fighting for hegemony?" All the lords of the lords were pulled over, of course, except for Yafai. After all, 3 days ago, the portal from the Star Domain to the Red Rose Domain was still under construction. You couldn't get in touch with Yafai, but it's alright now. Yafai took the initiative to come over. Everyone gathered together and began to discuss the matter of the Lord's hegemony. This is what Yafai saw before. As soon as Suyu's words fell, Suzu spoke first. "Brother, just tell me, what is this Lord's struggle for hegemony?" Suyu heard the words, coughed lightly, and pulled a screen panel used to control the market in the Lord's Hall and export all the data of the Lord's hegemony on it. "You can look at these materials yourself. The so-called Lord's hegemony is an event created by the System Master God. All human lords can participate in this event. The event rewards are rich, and the point ranking system is used to distinguish the strong from the weak. At the end of the event, the lord with more points will be ranked higher, and the lord with the higher rank will receive richer rewards. Judging from the rewards that have been revealed so far, the lord who wins the first place in this competition will directly receive tens of billions of resources, a random 10th tier unit, and various other magical props." Having said that, everyone in the field gasped except Suyu. Tens of billions of resources. Random tier 10 arms, oh my god, this reward is too generous. Let alone the tens of billions of resources, just talk about the tier 10 arms, although they are random, their preciousness is unquestionable. Chapter 320. There is only one champion, and only one goal. For example, why is Suyu now able to dominate one side and have so many resources? Because Suyu has the foresight to walk in front of everyone. This is the first point. The second point is his type of arms. The opening is a 10th order giant dragon. It can be said that this is simply the opening of Cheyenne, who provided Suyu with a lot of convenience. Looking at the present, it has been nearly a year since the Lord's era came among the human lords. Besides Suyu, who else has a 10th tier unit? Sorry, no. Therefore, from these perspectives, we can see how precious and terrifying the 10th tier arms are. One of the rewards for the champion of the Lord contest this time is the 10th tier unit. Even if there were no other rewards, just this one would probably be enough to cause the lords to go crazy. Sukainer, Lin Yangxi and the others calmed down again after a short period of joy. There are so many lords participating in the competition, but there is only one champion. Do we have any hope? Lin Yangxi said weakly. As soon as the words fell, Suyu stood up with a bang, then he slapped the desk in front of him. Bang. All eyes were on Suyu. "This is what I'm going to talk about next." While speaking, Suyu's eyes flashed an undisguised gleam. "There is only one champion, and we have only one goal, and that is the champion. This position must be ours." What Suyu said was decisive. For a moment, Fang Yun, Duan Qinglian and others in the hall were stunned. After a while, Yafai came to his senses and was the first to applaud Suyu. "Anyway, I believe in the leader." Everyone pulled their thoughts back to reality, and at the same time recalled the various things that happened during this period. Then think about Suyu's handling style and his positioning. After thinking about it, it seems that it is not impossible to win the championship. In the following time, Suyu taught Lin Yangxi, Su Kainer and others a good lesson. He explained everything he learned about the precautions for the Lord contest. Of course, Suyu deliberately controlled the weight of his words. What he said were all the information that the lords could look up. As for those secrets that only Suyu knew, Suyu didn't reveal too much because it is related to his identity as a reborn person. After the meeting ended, it was already 5 or 6 in the afternoon. As the sky was getting darker, Jin Wuxi slanted and Suyu stood up from the throne. "That's all there is to say, just wait for the event to start." After finishing speaking, Suyu greeted everyone and walked towards the kitchen. Lin Yangxi, Su Kainer, and Eve rolled up their sleeves and started cooking. Duan Qinglian, Yafai, Hozuking and Suya chatted for a while and joined the cooking team. After more than an hour, delicious meals were served on the table. Suya took out the dwarven beer from Vulcan and poured it for everyone. Having said that, this should be the first gathering of the major lords of the Sky Alliance. Everyone ate happily. After drinking and eating, they each went back to the private houses that Suya had arranged for them to rest. Time flies. It is already the second day. Everyone woke up one after another. Duan Qinglian and Fang Yun bid farewell to Suya and returned to Tangxi first. Next came Yao Fei and Hozuking because Suya said, "The event may start at any time. At this time, it is better for everyone to stay in their respective territories." After bidding farewell to Yao Fei and Hozuking, Lin Yangxi and Su Kainer also left one after another. In the end, only Suya and Eve were left in the star field. "You should also be prepared. When the time comes, I will still need your help." Suya looked at Eve. The latter nodded, and rode a giant dragon back to Gold Mine Number 1 territory. The time jumps to 3 days later. The Lord Hegemony event that has attracted countless lords has finally started. Almost at the same moment, a voice sounded in the minds of all the human lords on Earth. "The Lord's Hegemony event is open. All territories will refresh the entrance to enter the event. Please pay attention to the lords to check. This event is a point-based winning system. The Lord leads his troops into the secret realm of the event, kills the enemy, and can get corresponding points. Occupying the city, can get corresponding points. After the event is over, the points of each participating lord will be counted. Generate rankings. This event lasts for 10 days. Within 10 days, all human lords will be sent to a new secret realm to compete for hegemony. During the event, all lords are only allowed to carry arms, and the number of carry will be determined by the lord himself. Note, the death of soldiers, lords, and transferees in the active secret realm will be regarded as a real death. Please be mentally prepared for the lords. This event then, there are more rules and explanations about the lord's hegemony activities. Long story short, here the event is global. That is to say, all lords on the earth can enter the event secret. Entering the active secret realm, the lord can carry arms. There is no regulation on the quantity you can carry. If you have 100,000 troops, it's fine to bring them all in. Of course, the result may be that when you come out of the active secret territory, your home is gone. Yes, this is the result. Suya still remembers how many unlucky people in the previous life tried their best to bring all the arms into the event secret realm, fight for themselves, and earn points for themselves. In the end, good results were achieved in the 10-day event, but because of the emptiness of its own territory, it was taken over by other lords or races. This is a pit. The lords will step on it if they are not careful, and only their underwear will be lost. Fortunately, during the meeting a few days ago, Suya had already explained this issue. And I believe that the lords under the Sky Alliance will not make such low-level mistakes, and, just to be on the safe side, Suya is not going to let the Sky Alliance come out. He only named Suzir, Lin Yangxi, Yao Fei, Hozuking, Fang Yun, Duan Qinglian and others to enter the secret realm. The remaining lords all stay in the real world. Chapter 321. The system recommendation is a trap. Subscribe for the second update. In this way, the territory security of the real world can be guaranteed almost 100%. Of course, since the event is open for the first time, the rewards are so rich. As long as conditions permit, 99% of the lords will choose to enter the active secret realm to show their ambitions. Therefore, the real world is not as dangerous as imagined. It is not the human lords that need to be guarded more, but the lords of other races prevent them from getting in. The duration of the entire lord contest is 10 days. After the lords enter the active secret realm with their respective units, there is only one thing to do, that is to get points. Get points crazily, the more the better. This is related to the ranking of the lords at the time of settlement. It is worth mentioning here that, if you are participating in the event as an alliance, then you can choose to hand over the cities captured by the lords in the alliance to your own hands, or hand them over to the lords in order to help the leader increase the number of points and get a higher ranking. Finally, there are 3 ways to earn points. First, kill the monster. A lot of monster layers, monster composition, monster chaos, etc. will be randomly refreshed in the secret area of the event. Kill them to get corresponding points. Second, occupy the city. There will be a lot of monster main cities refreshed in the secret area of the event, which are divided into 3 levels, low level, medium level, and high level, corresponding to the number of defenders in 3 number categories, namely 10,000, 50,000, and 100,000. Kill the defenders and occupy the city, and you will get rich reward points. Third, the plunder between the lords. Chapter 213. In the event secret territory, points are resources, and points can also be traded. You are free to gift your points to any lord if you want. Then, your points become his. Therefore, A few days after the opening of the event Secret Realm, a group of lords who specialize in grabbing points were born. In their words, it is better to rob a person than to fight a few cities. The above is how to get points after entering the event Secret Realm. In addition, there are many other noteworthy places in the activity Secret Realm, so I won't mention them here, and I will announce them one by one later. Star Domain Territory. In the open space in front of the Lord's Hall, a portal appeared out of nowhere, golden and huge, like a gate leading to heaven. Su Yi knew that this was the portal to the event Secret Realm. He has roughly read the gameplay of the Lord's Hegemony event, which has deepened his memory a lot. Now is the time to enter the Secret Realm. As I said before, even if Su Yi enters the active Secret Realm, the domain cannot be empty, so this time he decided to keep Banner Andre the former, with his doomsday armor, is stationed in the star domain. Of course, in order to prevent this guy from falling, Su Yi also equipped with 50 giant dragons, just in case. Banners was a little speechless about this. In fact, his original intention was to join in the fun with him, but Su Yi didn't allow it, so he could only give up. In addition to the star domain, the gold mine is also the top priority. Su Yi left Andre and 300 giant dragons for transfer today. The number of dragons in Su Yi is 175, aside from guarding the giant territory, star domain territory, gold mine, orange secret realm, Lake Central Island Galaxy territory and so on. In Su Yi's hand, there are still 112 giant dragons. Just right, make up an integer, bring 1,000 dragons to participate in the event, and leave the rest to guard the house. Su Yi didn't want to. After he came out, the Starfield territory and the gold mine were already under someone else's name. This kind of thing must never happen. After all these things are arranged, Su Yi took Eve, selected 1,000 giant dragons, 1,500 dragon hunters, and 100 doomsday mechas, and officially stepped into the secret realm. Please choose the place of birth. The system beep sounds. Su Yi glanced at the screen that appeared in front of him, and a small dot was already marked on it. The information belonged to Su Kainer. This little girl was the first to enter the secret realm of the event in the Sky Alliance. Shaking his head helplessly, Su Yi took Eve and chose to be born with Su Kainer. In this way, his army can join forces with Su Zir to capture the city together. A few seconds after choosing the birth point, Su Yi appeared in a desert. The place is barren, and as far as the eye can see, it is all yellow sand that stretches as far as the eye can see. The wind was blowing, the sky was full of yellow sand, and my eyes were a little bit squinted. Su Zir was standing in the yellow sand with her own troops, with a dazed and helpless expression. It wasn't until Su Yi appeared that the little girl's heart relaxed a little. Brother, sister-in-law, you're here. Su Yi gave her an angry look. You really know how to choose a place. It's not easy to choose a desert. Su Kainer stuck out her tongue. It's my first time playing. I chose the system recommendation, and then it appeared here. Su Yi, if you play balls, then the system recommendation is paid. It is distributed by density among lords. If there are fewer lords in this block, the lord will be placed in this block, and of course, it doesn't matter. Su Yi has learned about the map of the secret place of the event. It was a circle, a huge circle. Every new lord can only be born in the outermost circle, then slowly punch in towards the center of the circle. The closer to the center of the circle, the stronger the monster and the denser the main city. Naturally, risks and competitiveness will also increase accordingly. Su Yi knew this, so he had already opened the map to check his location. Well, not too bad. Just to the north and east of Su Yi's current location, there is a first-level main city. At that time, these two places can be laid down first. It is worth mentioning here that the map is something that every lord will be equipped with after entering the secret realm. It marked the locations of all the main cities, large and small, within the secret territory, and it will update in real time the occupation information of this main city. Except for the main city, the group of monsters wandering in the wild will not be displayed on the map. Chapter 322. Going straight to the center of the map, subscription for the third watch, together with Su Zir. After waiting at the spot for more than 10 minutes, the two finally ushered in the third Lord Yafei. That's right, it's her. After returning to the Red Rose territory a few days ago, she has been preparing for this matter. Call back all the Huaxianzi troops who went out to level up, and stay in the territory to wait for orders today. As soon as the event started, she packed up and brought Flower Fairy in. According to Su Yi's instructions, Yafei only brought Ho Zilking, a job changer, as an assistant. There is a reason for this from Su Yi's point of view. At least in the early and middle stages of the Lord era, the role of job changers is very limited. A job changer without Lord skills does not have much advantage over a middle-level unit, and this is also the reason why Su Yi didn't want Li Wu job changers to join his star domain. Otherwise, with his current strength, as long as he goes to Henan City to raise his arms and raise a team of tens of thousands of job changers, It will be an easy task, but Suyi will not do this, because he is more willing to believe in his own arms than a job changer. They are safer than job changers. Not long after Yao Fei arrived, Lin Yangxi, Duan Qinglian, and Fang Yun arrived one after another. Now, the main force of the Sky Alliance has gathered in a desert at the outermost edge of the active secret realm except for Suyi himself. Everyone else faced this secret realm with novelty and excitement. In my mind, the system's notification tone kept ringing. It's about what kind of main city a certain lord captured, how many points he got, and so on, or some rankings, changes. There will be real-time updates of the system wizard. Well, in fact, this real-time voice broadcast function was turned off when Suyi first entered the secret realm. It's useless. Okay. At least the first 5 days, the changes in the secret territory are very big. This kind of voice broadcast is useless. It's better to close it directly, so that you can clean yourself. Everyone had arrived, and Suyi was unambiguous. He found a shady place to sit down and looked around. Everyone, now, tell me the number and information of the troops you brought into the secret realm. Everyone looked at each other in blank dismay, and quickly followed suit. Suzir, I brought in 150 beast summoners. They are the 8th tier troops. Yao Fei, a flower fairy, an 8th tier unit. Lin Yangxi, a force of nature wizard mage, a 7th tier unit. Duan Qinglian, 1 savage horn, knights, 7th tier troops, 10 scorching flame mages, 7th tier troops, 10 miscellaneous soldiers, 7th tier troops. Fang Yun, 1 ironclad orc, 7th tier arms, 00 shadow hunters, 7th tier arms, 10 miscellaneous soldiers, 7th tier arms. After listening to these reports, Suyi wrote them down one by one, plus his own 1,000 dragons, Eve's 1,000 dragon hunters, and 100 doomsday mechas. Now, Suyi has more than 10,000 troops. Of course, this figure is somewhat embarrassing for some big leagues. However, Suyi can assure you that the quality of the troops in his team is definitely the best in the active secret territory. The minimum is tier 7 arms. This is what Suyi requested. Soldiers are not many, but fine, what's the use of it? It's difficult to command, and it dies quickly. After counting the number of units, Suyi took out the map and spread it out in front of everyone. The event is only for 10 days, so there is no delay. I have seen it just now. Our current position is here, and our goal is to follow that this line goes all the way into the center of the map. With that said, Suyi clicked twice on the center of the map. When Lin Yangxi heard the words, she took a moment and looked at Suyi. Brother Su, there are so many main cities near the route you pointed out. Should we all give up? As soon as these words came out, everyone in the field looked at Suyi. Indeed, when Suyi pointed out the route just now, he meant a straight line go straight to the center of the map. But there are many first-level and second-level main cities along the way, but Suyi didn't even look at them. This made a few people a little confused, not sure what Suyi was thinking. Suyi heard the words, but the corners of his lips curled up. These first and second-tier main cities have 2 little points, and the real points are all in this area in the center of the map. Trust me, we will go straight there. There will be unexpected gains. After finishing speaking, Suyi didn't explain too much, stood up and clenched his fists. Don't waste any more time, let's start. Take down our main city in the north first, and finish it quickly. Saying that, Suyi rode on the blazing back, bearing the brunt and rushing towards the north. Lin Yangxi, Su Kainer and the others hurriedly followed. In any case, Suyi is the leader of the alliance, and they must obey his orders. Chapter 214. As for why Suyi made such a decision, there is naturally a reason. The point content of the 3rd level main city is almost several times that of the 2nd level main city, and dozens of times that of the 1st level main city. Suyi wouldn't waste time attacking those 1st level and 2nd level main cities along the way. That's something only fools and weak people would do like him. It is natural that one step is in place, straight to the center of the map. At this moment, under Suyi's order, more than 10,000 troops set out and marched towards the 1st level main city in the north. Along the way, the army encountered 3 waves of wild monsters ranging from hundreds to thousands. Without Suyi's order, Eve, Su Kainer, and the others had already ordered the attack. Wild monsters of this size were killed in minutes, then move on in less than 20 minutes. The first main city that Suyi wanted to capture appeared at the end of his field of vision. The city wall is about 10 meters high, and there are some soldiers like goblins and orcs standing on it. Without further ado, let's get started. Suyi's 1,000-headed dragon soared into the sky and flew over the main city before attacking. The first level main city below has already been messed up. Those goblins and orcs trembled under the pressure of the dragon, and this happened to be an excellent opportunity to attack the city. The allied forces headed by Eva and Yaofei immediately attacked, break the city in 2 minutes. The slaughter started in the third minute. 10 minutes later, the battle was over. More than 10,000 monsters in the entire main city were all killed, and Suya jumped off Blazing's back and went straight to the main city hall. Chapter 323. Enter the second block. A more subscription required. The main city hall is located in the center of the entire first level main city. It's much cleaner here than outside, like the certified territory. Suyi directly dripped a drop of his own blood on it. The next moment, the notification sounded in the minds of all the lords. Suyi, the leader of the Sky Alliance and the lord of the Star Domain, successfully occupied the first level main city and won 100 points. After the words fell, Suyi's points account suddenly increased by 10,000 points. As for the ranking, also jumped tens of thousands. Of course, Suya didn't bother to check. It's just a first level main city. I believe that more than half of the lords who have entered the secret realm have occupied it. Withdraw from the main hall of the city lord, and the battlefield outside has almost been cleaned up. Suya didn't stay any longer, and waved his hand. Go on, said, riding Blazing to lead the way ahead. Lead the army straight to the center of the map. After leaving the main city, the army marched mightily in order to save energy. They moved forward at a leisurely pace on the way to the second main city. In Suya's goal, the army encountered several groups of monsters. Compared with just now, the scale has grown significantly. The ones I met before were only 1,000 at most, but now it has gradually broken through to 2,000, or even 3,000. Without further ado, Suyi directly dispatched 300 giant dragons to exterminate them. The rest of the army continued to advance. The dragon is fast and can fly, enough to keep up with the main force. After clearing these monsters, the army continued to advance. 30 minutes after departure, successfully arrived at the second main city. It's still a first level main city, and the scale of monsters defending the city is the same as the previous one, so there's nothing to say. Break through directly, without hesitation. After the occupation, the army continued to set off. This time, Suyi and the others encountered other lord teams. The scale is not large, only 2,000 or 3,000 units going forward with difficulty in this wilderness. Indeed, in terms of their strength, it is somewhat difficult to survive in this block. Ignoring them, Suyi led the troops and continued to move forward, and in the next 5 hours, he captured 666 level 1 main cities. The points balance also has more than 70,000. Only 60,000 points can be obtained by capturing the main city, and more than 10,000 points are obtained by killing monsters along the way. Coming out of the nearest first level main city, the army continued to advance. After walking not far, a high mountain range appeared in front of everyone like a long dragon, lying on it. No matter how abrupt it looks, Suya sat on Shilai's head, spread out the blueprint in his hand, and glanced at it. This should be the barrier of the first ring. After crossing this mountain range, we will encounter the second level main city and stronger monsters. Chaotically, military, Lin Yangxi, Suzir and others who followed behind looked at each other after hearing the words, but there was an unconcealable joy on his face. Before, under the leadership of Suyi, they killed all the way. The feeling of being unimpeded is really wonderful. Enter the area of the secondary main city. It means that they will encounter stronger and more monsters, and the speed of gaining points will also be greatly increased. This is a good thing. The army continued to move forward. When they reached the foot of the mountain, Suyi raised his hand to let the army stop. Right here, take a break and replenish your strength. With that said, Suyi took out the food and began to feed the dragon. The Lord's hegemony seems to be a simple game, but it is not. There are too many factors involved. The number and strength of arms is one point, how much reserve resources you have, and how long you can let arms squander. This is another point. The most obvious of these is food, because there are very few resource supplies in the secret territory. Most lords need to bring in food from outside to feed their troops. Suyi had a foresight early on, so before entering here, she had already reminded Sukainer and the others to prepare all the food, and the more food they brought, the better. Now, in Suyi's pocket, there are more than 2 million units of food, plus Suzir, a local rich man, has millions of units of food. It is enough to support the army to fight for 10 days. After seeing Suyi, Fang Yun, Yaofei and the others also followed his example and began to distribute food to their troops to supplement their physical strength. This is to prepare for the battle to come. After feeding the food and resting for another hour, Suyi stood up and greeted everyone. Let's go. Try to capture a second level main city before dark, and then rest in the main city. Otherwise, we can only sleep in the wilderness. Hearing Suyi's words, Yafai, even the others all laughed and got up one after another, lead the army and start to cross the mountains. The mountains in front of me are said to be mountains. But in fact they are hills connected in a line. Although it is not high, it is obviously different from the relatively flat desert area. I thought it would be easy to cross the mountains, but when the army just went up the mountain, they were attacked by monsters. All I could hear was a whimpering sound at the foot of the army. Giants made of mud stood up one by one. Suyi glanced at their attribute information. Fortunately, it's only tier 6 arms level 7 and above versus tier 6. There is also a numerical advantage, and it can be completely crushed following Suyi's order. The 10,000 troops attacked swiftly in minutes. A gap was torn in the defense line of these earth giants. The army swarmed in and entered the second level block from this gap. About half an hour later, the army had already crossed the mountains. As for those earth giants blocking the way, ahem, they have all turned into clouds now. Just kidding. Suyi would not want the points sent to the door, of course not. Then the army went down the mountain led by Suyi. Near the foot of the mountain, it seems to pass through a barrier. The notification sounded again in the minds of the lords. Successfully entered the second block. Here will refresh the second level main city, and more and stronger monster chaos. Please be ready, lords. The voice fell, and Suyi and others have successfully entered the second block. Before they could start their formation, there were already monsters rushing towards this side. Chapter 324, The Monster Rebellion, A Quick Battle, Second Watch Subscription. It was a huge black rhinoceros. The body is 7 or 8 meters long, and the rhinoceros horn on the forehead is 2 meters long, shining with thick metallic luster. Full of power, huge and powerful limbs moved in unison, stomping on the ground, making a thunderous sound. The earth trembled, and the army of rhinos had already arrived. Sukainer was standing behind Suyi. She was a little dumbfounded seeing this scene at the moment. I rely on you. Suyi's backhand was a brain breaker. Don't rely on it. Attack quickly and kill them all. After all, Suyi waved his hand, and the giant dragons who had been preparing for a long time flapped their wings, swooped down from the air, and began to kill monsters. Those rhino monsters are also tier 6 units, but it belongs to the best of the 6th order, even compared with some weaker 7th order. At this moment, Suyi's army arrived, like a sharp dagger, piercing into the camp of these rhinos. The sharp rhinoceros horns and petrified skin as hard as iron are useless in front of the giant dragon army. The defense is broken in minutes, and then huge damage occurs. As many as hundreds of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of life points dropped like a diabetes insipidus. There are more than 10,000 rhino monsters. Suzir, Lin Yangxi and the others naturally didn't care, and Kiki commanded their troops to launch a fierce attack. Suzi's beast summoner chanted some obscure inscriptions in the air. Chapter 215. The bracelets on their hands gave off a milky halo. The next moment, a number of imperial beasts were summoned. Although the ranks were not uniform, they couldn't stand a large number. Thousands of imperial beasts gathered in one place and launched a charge, which could also cause a lot of damage. Secondly, Feng Yun and Duan Qinglian's meat shield units also came in handy, standing at the forefront, creating favorable output conditions for other output type arms. The battle was going on fiercely, and it lasted less than 20 minutes. The army of more than 10,000, nearly 20,000 rhinos was dispersed. The remaining dozens of Sayezi fled. You didn't chase after him too hard. The sky's getting dark now, so that the army will not sleep in the wilderness tonight. Before it was completely dark, Suyi decided to capture a 2nd-tier main city. He took out a map, followed the route he had chosen before, found the nearest 2nd-level main city, and set off. The army that has been victorious after many battles is now in full swing, and under the leadership of Suyi, it is marching forward. Finally, the appearance of the secondary main city appeared at the end of the vision of several people. The scale and area are several times larger than the first-level main city. The city wall is also high, about 15 meters. Torches were lit on the walls. Through the light of the torch, Suyi could vaguely see the densely packed troops. The number is very large, and it is still a military type. What is mixed arms is the comprehensive development of morality, intelligence, physique, art and labor. There are all kinds of professions. There are meat shields, shooters, mages, junglers, assassins, etc. This kind of army is undoubtedly the most difficult to deal with. Can completely restrain, can only rely on touch to win. The sky was getting dark. Suyi didn't hesitate too much. Greet Lin Yangxi, Yafai and others to come over. Front, it is the 2nd-level main city. The defenders should be more than 50,000, and the ranks are mostly 5th, 6th, and 7th. Later, my dragon will be the striker. Let the meat shields be on top, and let the output troops find output opportunities. Try to make a quick decision as much as possible. Everyone nodded upon hearing this. After all, it is a siege. The longer the delay, the more disadvantageous it will be for the besiegers. Plus it was dark again. The view below the city is not very good, which adds to the difficulty of this battle. After arranging everything, Suyi blazed and gave an order to set off immediately. With a blazing howl, it flapped its wings and flew into the sky. At the same time, he opened his mouth and let out a mouthful of dragon breath. A scorching light instantly dispelled the surrounding darkness, providing some illumination for the troops on the ground. Started to set off. Blazing was the first to bear the brunt, and went straight to the wall of the second-level main city. The other 1,000 giant dragons behind it didn't bother, and attacked one after another. In an instant, the giant dragons turned into a cloud and directly attacked the second-tier main city. When the defenders on the city wall saw someone attacking the city, they immediately alarm bells sounded. The sharp and ear-piercing ringing of bells instantly spread throughout the main city. The next moment, the entire main city became brightly lit. Tens of thousands of troops woke up from their deep sleep and ran towards the city wall in the direction of the city wall. The battle has already begun under the blessing of Suyi's double attributes of the fearless domain. Blazing landed on the city wall with a bang. The sharp dragon claws and huge body even directly crushed dozens of defenders into pieces, then spit out the dragon's breath, sweeping all the way the faces of the 5th, 6th, and 7th tier troops gathered on the city wall. All changed, sensing the deadly threat in blazing mouth. They want to escape, but the density on the city wall is too big. If you want to go, how can you go? All of a sudden, these guys became the material for blazing fire. A mouthful of dragon's breath burned a piece, making a crackling burning sound, and there was a smell of barbecue in the air. The fiery one, excited, jumping up and down on the city wall, and summoning the lava hell at the same time, burned hundreds of enemies to death. Apart from blazing, other giant dragons were not to be outdone, and joined the battlefield one after another. Powerful attributes and super high attacks make the dragons invincible. Soon, the defenders on the city wall were completely disrupted. At this time, the army of Lin Yangxi, Su Kainer and others had already arrived. The Flower Fairy is the second flying unit in the field besides the dragon. At this moment, it has arrived on the battlefield from the air. Booming and booming, the Flower Fairy cannon was released towards the battlefield below. Blossoming fireworks exploded on the city wall, accompanied by the fragrance of flowers, causing great damage to the defenders. The beast summoners summoned the beasts and launched a charge. The force of nature elf mages stood neatly behind, waving the dead tree branch in his hand, throwing elemental magic into the city. There is also a dragon hunter, who has turned into points harvester. Arrows with dazzling rays of light streaked across the night sky and shot into the city. End the lives of those terrified rebels. Chapter 325 Points Ranking, Package Plan. Subscribe for the third watch. Facts have proved that the overall quality of Suyi's army is quite good, with the strongest dragon as the forward. Within 10 minutes, the defenders on the city wall were completely disrupted. Then came Flower Fairy and Dragon Hunter, two powerful output weapons. The Flower Fairy cooperated with a giant dragon from the air, and the Dragon Hunter stood in front of the city wall, and easily sent the arrow in his hand to the city wall. The garrison, who had already been beaten to death, dealt the final blow. The remaining arms are not as powerful as Flower Fairy, Dragon Hunter and other 8th tier arms, but the strength is still considerable. Just as the giant dragon opened the gap, it frantically rushed into the city. Start the massacre. Suyi's point balance is rising rapidly. The points calculation method in the event secret area is as follows. For the monsters killed by the units under your hand, the points will be counted on you, the lord. In this battle, the giant dragon is undoubtedly the sharpest knife among sharp knives. Killed the most monsters, so Suyi's points increase the fastest. Swipe upwards. Suyi looked gratified, and fought even more vigorously. He led a large army to kill wantonly in the city for more than an hour. The battle is over. Annihilation of about 50,000 to 60,000 defenders in the second tier main city. After the battle was over, Suyi jumped off Blazing's back and looked around. Clean up the battlefield, and spend the night here tonight. It was almost 10 o'clock at night. The sky outside has turned dark. Only faint starlight and moonlight sprinkled the earth. Fang Yun and others heard the words, and quickly ordered the troops under their hands to start cleaning the battlefield. By the way, get some advanced materials for arms, or resources and other things. Of course, the main purpose is to clean up these corpses that are almost all over the main city. I'm going to spend the night here tonight, so I can't stay with these corpses. While the army was carrying the corpses, Suyi went straight to the second-level main city hall. Compared with the first-level main city hall, this second-level main city hall is much more luxurious. After entering, Suyi began to bleed for authentication. Suyi, the leader of the Sky Alliance and the lord of the Star Domain, successfully occupied the second-level main city and gained 500 points. The reminder sounded and spread to the ears of the lords throughout the secret realm in an instant. It caused an uproar among many lords. Although Suyi is not the only lord who has successfully occupied the secondary main city, but he is also one of the few as far as the entire activity secret territory is concerned. There are only about 20 masters who have successfully occupied the second level. These 20 are undoubtedly outstanding people from various countries with tens of thousands of soldiers in hand, and a clear goal. They went straight to the center of the map from the very beginning. Otherwise, it is absolutely impossible to attack the secondary block so quickly. Suyi didn't pay attention to the system's notification sound. After the authentication was completed, he opened his property panel and checked his point balance. Now it is more than 130,000. It ranks 5th globally. Apart from Suyi, there are 2 other Chinese lords in the top 20. One of them, not surprisingly, is Zhang Xianai. This guy's dominant domain is not a short distance away from Suyi's star domain. Therefore, Suyi's development did not have much impact on that side. Therefore, in this life, Zhang Xianai's development process is not much different from the previous life. It was completely within Suyi's expectation that he could reach the current level 1 year after the Lord's age came. Zhang Xianai's ranking is 1, and the third Huaxia Lord's ranking is 15. His name is Xiaoyu, the Lord of Fengaian territory, and the leader of Yangxiao Alliance. Su Yi was also not too surprised by this name. The guy who has been competing with Zhang Xianai for the number 1 throne in China in his previous life, Xiao Yi. Chapter 216. But what this guy is most famous for is not because of his battle with Zhang Xianai. It's the guy's character for profit, unscrupulous character, a complete lunatic, a lunatic who can give up at any time, even for those closest to him. But often this kind of person is the scariest. Therefore, Suyi should be more wary of Xiao Yi than Zhang Xianai. As long as I continue to follow the current route, sooner or later, I will meet Xiao Yi. Considering the size of the event secret realm and the number of lords participating in the event, the lords participating in the event are not actually in the same secret realm. This was discovered by a Chinese lord near the end of the game. In the previous life he said that there should be a total of 50 are exactly the same size activity mystery. According to the block in your own choice, all the lords participating in the event will be evenly distributed among the 50 event secrets. Then, enter the second block. That is, when refreshing the secondary main city area, the number of active rifts will be reduced to 25. In other words, in a disguised form, the lords who entered the second level block were gathered together in this block. Your chances of encountering foreign lords will be greatly increased. Finally, enter the third level block. There's only one activity secret place left. All the lords who have the strength to enter the third level block will gather in this activity secret territory. At that time, it will really be a battle between gods and gods. You will compete for territory with the most powerful lords in the world, the final showdown. Su Yi knew this mechanism very well, so he made a package plan for this mechanism. One of them is to be the first to enter the third block, which is the area where the third level main city is refreshed. As the saying goes, there are many advantages to arriving early. First come first serve. Let's look at the current ranking of event secret points. At number 1 was a cowboy lord named Tom Wright. The second place, Takashita Jinsong, Lord of Sakura Country. The third place, Kim Su-hyun, Lord of Bang Bang. The fourth place is Ali Gaga, the Lord of Shenayao Kingdom. Su Yi has heard of these names without exception. They are all one of the most powerful lords in the world. In the previous life, it seems that in this life, they are still walking along the route of the previous life. Chapter 326 Paradise Alliance. Tom Wright. After glancing at the ranking behind, Su Yi closed the ranking panel. There were also footsteps coming from behind, and when I looked back, it was Lin Yangxi who came. Brother Su, it's time to eat, Lin Yangxi shouted. Su Yi nodded, stood up and walked towards the door. In the open space in front of the main city hall, a bonfire has been lit here. Su's ear. Yofei and others are sitting around and cooking. They always carry these tools with them. Now it's time to take it out and use it. When Su Yi arrived, the food was just right. A group of people were not polite, sat around and ate together. Although they came from all over the world, they came together because of Su Yi. In addition, Su Yi only pulled the lord he liked to his side. Therefore, the personalities of these people are not bad. Apart from chatting, they also get along very well. After drinking and eating, everyone went back to their rooms to rest under Su Yi's arrangement. Although it is possible to fight at night, in Su Yi's view, it is not worth it. The arms have been fighting for a day, and they are already exhausted. They need to rest. Only when you have a good rest can you burst out with 100% combat effectiveness in tomorrow's battle. At the same time, in the secret territory of another secondary block activity on the wall of a secondary main city, a young man with blonde hair and blue eyes stood. He was about 27 or 88 years old, With a fierce face, and his hands clasped behind his back is Tom Wright, who currently ranks first in points, the leader of the Heaven Alliance, the Lord of the Eden Territory. At this moment, hurried footsteps came from behind Tom Wright. At the same time, there was another voice speaking, "Leader Tom, up to now, our 100,000 troops have all entered the second-level block and are stationed outside the city. Please give instructions." When Tom Wright heard this, a gleam of light flashed in his blue pupils, the thin lips pursed, and he said coldly, "Order, let those lords continue to attack. The 100,000 army is divided into two groups, and we will attack the second-tier main city with a two-pronged approach." As soon as these words came out, Shirley's face behind Tom Wright changed slightly. "Leader Tom, our army has been fighting since entering the secret realm, and now most of our physical strength has been exhausted. If we continue to attack, I feel a bit inappropriate." As soon as the words fell, Tom Wright turned around, looked directly into Hilly's eyes, and said coldly, "There is nothing inappropriate. As long as I can win the first place in this event, all of this will be worth it. 10th tier arms, tens of billions of resources. Do you know how much I want them?" Shirley swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and there was a look of horror in his eyes. Tom Wright has always been crazy. Now it seems that it is so. Seeing Shirley hesitate, Tom Wright yelled angrily, "Hurry up, don't you pig-headed, don't you see the Lord of the Sakura Kingdom and the Bang Bang Kingdom biting behind you?" After being yelled at by Tom Wright, Shirley had no choice but to stand up and run towards the city. Standing at the head of the city, Tom Wright looked at the towering army at the end of his vision, his eyes full of confidence. Mango this time, he was fully prepared before coming in for the first place, the kind of people who are determined to win. The same situation also happened to the lords of Sakura Country, Bang Bang Country, and Shanao Country. In spite of his Takashita Jinsung, or Kim Soo-hyun, or Ali Gaga, they are the top few lords in order to keep their ranking, but also to compete for the first place. At this moment, they are sparing no effort to attack the secondary territory. At first glance, their points are skyrocketing, off to a pretty good start, but in the end, is it really like this? Not necessarily. After all, the arms also have physical limitations. If we continue to fight like this, sooner or later, all the strength of the troops will be exhausted. Time flies, and it is already the next day. After a night of fermentation and hard work, the points ranking has changed a lot. Suyi's 5th place was robbed, and he was directly squeezed to 15th place. It fell back by 10 places. This surprised Suyi, who saw the ranking. "You guys are crazier than I thought." Suyi pointed out something. His eyes swept down from the points column. The first place Tom Wright has more than 400,000 points. Ali Gagan, who is second, has 350,000 points. Takashita Jinsong and Kim Soo-hyun in the back also have more than 300,000 points. It seems that these guys didn't sleep all night last night. Huax's ranking has also undergone a huge change as expected of a lunatic. Zioyi broke into 8th place overnight. Chapter Shianai 11th now. Suya is the last one to enter the top 20 in the world. Just as Suya closed the ranking panel and was about to get up, the door was suddenly knocked open from the outside. Suya ran in from the door in a hurry. Brother, our ranking has dropped a lot. What should we do?" Suya glanced at Sukainer lightly. "Why panic? It's only temporary." Suya bit her red lips. "But everyone is very worried. Your points are only a few 100,000, and the points of the first place are almost 3 times that of yours. Can we still catch up?" Suya shrugged, got up from the top, and rubbed Suya's little head. "Don't worry, it will be a matter of time to catch up. Everything is in my plan." Although she didn't understand where Suya's self-confidence came from, after hearing this, Suya finally let go of the suspense in her heart. The two went out together and arrived at a place to eat. Eve, Yafai and others are all there. Their faces were not very good looking, and they were shocked after seeing the huge change in the ranking. Seeing Suya coming at this moment, he couldn't help asking for countermeasures, but Suya still said that everything is in his plan, and he can catch up. After finishing speaking, Suya started to eat on his own. Seeing Suya so calm and composed, Yafai and the others had no choice but to give up, although they were puzzled and anxious. Take one step at a time. Chapter 327, The Stupid Behavior of Squeezing Arms. Second watch subscription. After a simple breakfast, Suya ordered to continue marching. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217. Still the same as yesterday, Heading towards the center of the map, of course, the second-level main cities are refreshed in the second-level blocks, and the number is much smaller than that of the first-level main cities. It is not easy to come across, therefore, all the secondary main cities encountered along the way have also become Suya's goals. Directly break through the city wall in the fastest way and occupy the main city. As a result, the number of Suya's points is also increasing rapidly at a not slow speed. However, Suya didn't intentionally grab the ranking. As he said before, the current ranking is only temporary. There is no need to rob it, probably just be able to maintain your points increase. It turns out that secondary blocks move much slower than primary blocks, and the first level block, Suya led his troops forward non-stop, and it took less than a day to enter the second level block. As for the second level block, Suya walked for a day, but only walked 1/3 of it. Occupied 555 secondary main cities. The number of points also soared to 410,000. Ranked 11th globally, Tom Wright, who is the first, has broken through the 700,000 mark. Get rid of the second place by 100,000 points and become the proper first place. Of course, it is also temporary. Who knows if there will be a dark horse in the back. It suddenly ran out. Besides, Suya's current points are 410,000, but it does not mean that this is his full background. This is just his personal score. Apart from him, Su Kainer, Lin Yangxi, Eve, Yafei, Duan Qinglian, Fang Yun, and others all have some points in their hands. That's the points their units get after killing monsters. It's just not as many as Suya. If all these points are collected, it will not be a problem for Suya's points to break through 600,000. It's just that he won't do it because he doesn't need to. As for whether other lords have done this, I don't know. After capturing 5 second-tier main cities in a row, the sky has already darkened. Suya found a second-level main city nearby to live in. After a day of continuous fighting, more than half of the soldiers were worn out. Suya still insisted on the previous policy and let the troops time to feed food. After Suya, Yafei and the others finished their work, they gathered together to cook. Not long after, Suya also walked over. As soon as I passed by, I heard a few people talking about it. Hozuking spread out the tablecloth and said, "Have you noticed that the first place, the lord named Tom Wright, his points haven't changed much for 2 hours?" Suya heard the words, and also echoed, "I saw it too." Not only him, but also Ali Gaga, who followed him, Kim Su-hyun, and their points have not changed for a long time. Yafei was more thoughtful than the two, and added, "At this moment, it's not that there is no change, but the change is very small. We can't see the increase of tens or hundreds." Lin Yangxi added some firewood to the fire and raised her head. "Then what's going on? Could it be that they met what's the hard stubble? I can't break it down." As soon as the words fell, Suya's voice came from behind several people. "It's not that they encountered a stubble, but that their troops are exhausted and need to rest." Hearing this, everyone quickly turned their heads and saw Suya walking towards this side. Suya looked curious, and ran to Suya's side. "Brother, tell us what's going on." Suya didn't give a damn, found a place to sit down, and said, "It's very simple. From the analysis of their points increase before, their arms have almost been fighting continuously for more than 16 hours, and their physical strength has been exhausted." "Exhausted, must be rested. Then what will happen if it doesn't stop?" Hozuking asked on a whim. The corners of Suya's lips hooked slightly. "If you don't rest, there will be 2 results. First, in the eyes of the exhaustion of the arms, the strength will be damaged, and they will not be able to burst out their due strength, and will be killed. Second, the arms will be overwhelmed. The speed will drop, and then defect." Indeed, in the Age of Lords, oppressing troops is the most stupid behavior because a lord often needs to rely on troops to make a living, but you squeeze them, and when they get angry, they won't give you a good look in spite of whether it's lack of food, lack of physical strength, or a decrease in loyalty, will indirectly reduce the strength of the arms, and then be given a meal by Suya. Explain. Yafei and others also understand. Then now, if it counts as our chance, how about we fight all night and overtake them? Lin Yangxi said playfully, but Suya stared back. "There is no need to do this for now. Take a good rest, and fight again tomorrow." Lin Yangxi stuck out her tongue and said no more. This was originally one of her thoughts. Suya doesn't allow it, so let's not do it. While Suya and others were chatting and waiting for food, in the second-level main city of a second-level block of a certain active secret realm, Tom Wright was gloomily scanning the few people in front of him. Just 3 minutes ago, they had a disagreement because of one thing. Tom Wright is competitive. Seeing that he has occupied the first place, he is still not satisfied. He advocated continuing to attack and letting the arms continue to fight, and this decision was opposed by other lords under his command. Hillary is one of them. The reason for their opposition is very simple, that is, The physical strength of the troops has been seriously exhausted. The battle 2 hours ago had already caused serious casualties to the exhausted troops. If it wasn't for the last moment, Hilly threw 2 scrolls of forbidden spells to the rescue. I am afraid that in the battle just now, the casualties of the allied forces of the Heavenly Alliance would be more than 3 times greater. This is an extremely unfavorable result. Leader, our army is really not suitable for further fighting. Please give the army at least 8 hours to rest and provide enough food, Hillary said loudly. Tom Wright's face was very ugly, and he scolded angrily. 8 hours 88 can't be done. 8 hours 88 is too long. By then those guys behind will have caught up with me. We must shorten the rest time. Chapter 328 Lee's Inland. SSS-level talent asking for flowers, asking for tickets, asking for everything. Hilly and other lords looked at each other, and one of them said, Master, I have already observed the points of several lords such as Takashita Jinsong, Jinzuxin and Ali Jayajia. It should have encountered the same situation as us. The arms are resting, the points have not changed much, and after 8 hours, we are still number 1. Hearing this, Tom Wright's heart calmed down a little, and his tone softened a lot. Anyway, 8 hours 88 is too long. I only give 6 hours 6. Take out all the treasures that can restore the physical strength of our troops, within 6 hours. I want them to restore their physical strength to the peak, and then continue to fight for me. After that, Tom Wright turned and left. He ignored Shirley and others who were hesitant to speak behind. Seeing Tom Wright leave, Hilly and the others were extremely speechless. Looked at each other. What should we do now? Asked a cowboy country lord. Hilly sighed. What else can we do? Let's do it according to the leader's wishes. 6 hours 6. There are still 4 hours left. Let's hurry up. After all, the lords, led by Hilly, left the hall and walked towards the direction where their own troops were stationed. The same thing happened in the territories of Takashita Jinsong, Ali Gaga and Kim Su-hyun. These lords all hope that they can become the number 1, and at the same time they cannot let others surpass themselves, so they gave the same order as Tom Wright. No expense spared. Restore the physical strength of your arms, and then continue to fight. Can this be done without side effects? Of course there is no way to get rid of the mental exhaustion caused by the continuous battle of the arms. Can only rely on time, rely on rest to offset. But now Suyi is here. After breakfast under Suyi's order, the army continued yesterday's battle, still going straight to the center of the map. The second-level main cities encountered along the way are also all spared at the same time. There are also those monsters wandering in the wilderness. These are all points. In the second-level block, the number of chaos in each wave is between 30,000 and 50,000, and sometimes it's easier to fight than to siege. Facing these extra points, Suyi happily accepted them. Coupled with Suyi's legion, the overall quality is relatively high. There is a giant dragon as the vanguard, 3 third-tier and 8th rank units, the flower fairy, the dragon hunter, and the beast summoner as assistants. When it comes to fighting, it's all good. It is often possible to fight with 1 against 10, or even with 1 momentum. Therefore, along the way, gods block and kill gods, Buddhas block and kill Buddhas, unimpeded. 3 blocks. Today is the 3rd day of the opening of the event Secret Realm. And more lords have followed the steps of the boss and successfully entered the second-level block. Start to conquer the secondary main city. Of course, more lords can only stay in the first-level block. The reason is simple. They cannot pass the barrier from the first-level block to the second-level block, that is, the mountain range guarded by monsters. It is said that it is a mountain range, but it is actually a screening mechanism. A lord without sufficient strength cannot pass this sieve at all. If the selection mechanism is not used, naturally it cannot enter the secondary block at one point. Even these lords took advantage of the loopholes to enter the secondary block. There are tens of thousands of monster troops there, and 5 or 6 million troops stationed in the main city. For them, they can only feel helpless. You can't beat it. Did you come in vain? So, the lords who are not strong, it's better to stay in the first-level block, honestly safe and worry-free. Of course, in this context, there are still quite a few lords who are ruthless characters. They even did not hesitate to wait in front of the barrier between the first-level block and the second-level block, and when they saw the lord coming towards this side, they went up and asked for cooperation and alliances. Although it could also be fake, but there are also some lords who will agree to form a team with other lords they don't know at all and enter the second-level block. Chapter 218. As to whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. In a second-level main city in the same active secret realm as Suyi, there is a huge army station here. The number of arms is about 5 or 6 million or so, equal ranks, different levels of species, high and low. At this moment, These arms are rearranged under the organization of the lords, preparing to leave the city. On top of the secondary main city there are two people standing here, a man and a woman. Both are in their 30s. The man was thin, with an indifferent expression on his face, and his eyes flickered from time to time. As for the woman, she is also a beautiful young woman. Although she is 30 years old, she still has a charming charm, with a light makeup on her face. At first glance, she is quite beautiful. These two people are the rulers of Fingayan territory, Yuxiao Alliance Xiaoyi, and Li Xinlan. Xiaoyi is the leader and Li Xinlan is the deputy leader at the same time. The two are also in a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship. This time, we will enter the activity to explore the secret land together. At this moment, Xiaoyi looked at the mighty army leaving the city, and a look of madness flashed across his face. Now is a good opportunity. The foreign lords in front of us have lost their points. If we catch up now, hey. Since entering the secret realm of the event, Xiaoyi has been paying attention to the changes in the points on the leaderboard. Pay attention to the ups and downs of the top few lords. This made his heart burn. It is no exaggeration to say that he also wants to be number one. The 10th tier units and tens of billions of resources that want to get that reward. However, this is a bit difficult for him, who only has an army of 5 or 6 million, because the number of his army is not as good as Tom Wright, Ali Gaga and other lords. Then, who is it that gave him the courage to challenge the number one? That's right, it's Li Xinlan. Beside him she was lucky. After the Lord era came, she unexpectedly awakened a super talent. This top level talent is almost impossible to find in a million people. However, Li Xinlan was lucky to become such a person at the same time. It is precisely because of Li Xinlan's super talent that Xiaoyi has the current self-confidence even want to challenge the first. So, what exactly is Li Xinlan's super talent? Chapter 329. Prepare to enter the third block. A more subscription required. Blessing of the Goddess of Fortune. Tire. Effect. Consume a lot of mental power to maintain the troops in the designated area, remove their fatigue and restore their strength. The more troops you maintain at the same time, the more mental power you will consume. Continuous use will also affect the soul. This is Li Xinlan's super talent, typical restorative talent. It can quickly remove the fatigue of the soldiers, restore their physical strength and spirit, and let the soldiers continue to fight. This is simply a moving angel statue. It is because of this talent that Xiaoyi can develop so fast. With Li Xinlan's reply, Xiaoyi's army ran around non-stop almost every day, capture secret areas, plunder territories, and accumulate a lot of resources, and this is the reason why he can become one of the several great lords in China at the same time. It is also Xiaoyi's trump card for daring to challenge the lord for the first throne. At this moment, Li Xinlan was standing beside Xiaoyi, watching the army leaving the city with him. Do you really want to be number one that much? Li Xinlan asked. Hearing this, Xiaoyi was a little puzzled as to why Li Xinlan asked such a question. He turned around and grabbed Li Xinlan's shoulders, shaking slightly. Of course I did. If you win the first place, you will have tens of billions of resources and 10th tier units. You know what? What is the concept? Seeing Xiaoyi's somewhat crazy expression, Li Xinlan raised the corners of his lips slightly, revealing a smile. Okay then, we'll do our best. Xiaoyi was not satisfied, and said in a deep voice, it's not about doing our best, it's about necessity. We must get the first place. Only by getting the first place can we dominate China and the world. Only in this way can I let you live a happy life. Good day. Hearing Xiaoyi's words, Li Xinlan felt joyful and moved at the same time. He secretly made up his mind, no matter what, Xiaoyi must win the first place. There is no other reason. Just because she loves Xiaoyi and this man, even for this man, she can give her all. Seeing that 2/3 of the army had left the city, Xiaoyi put his arm around Li Xinlan's waist. Let's go. It's time for us to set off. With that said, the two got off the city wall, got on their mounts, and together with the army, marched towards the mighty front. Time flies, and the 6 hours agreed by Tom Wright have passed. The allied forces of heaven, who barely recovered most of their physical strength, were summoned by him again after leaving the main city. The troops divided into two groups and continued to fight. Hillary and other lords are somewhat reluctant but can only give up. See Tom Wright's points rushing forward again. This gave Takeshita Jinsong, Kim Soo-hyun, and Ali Zhu a very big impact at the moment. These people, together with Tom Wright, gathered the army and continue. The battle of the secret realm is in full swing. After all, the reward is really too much. As long as you can get a good ranking in this event and bring the rewards back to the real world, you will naturally be able to show your ambitions and reach a higher level. 2 days later, Suyi occupied 16 second level main cities in the second level block. At the same time, It also successfully reached the barrier from the second-level block to the third-level block. The difference from before was that this time what stood in front of them was a big river. I don't know the length, but the width is about 200 meters. The river is muddy and the flow is not fast, but Suyi felt a very dangerous atmosphere in this Hanoi. It was as if there was some powerful monster hiding at the bottom of this river. Before it was a mountain, but this time it's a river. How should we get over it? Duan Qinglian stood by the river, looked at the other side of the river 200 meters away, and said anxiously as soon as she finished speaking. Suyi and the others hadn't spoken yet. Everyone heard the dense gurgling sound suddenly coming from the river. Looking intently, I only heard a bang, and the surface of the river exploded. A huge fish monster with a length of more than 20 meters soared into the sky. The glistening fish scales covering the whole body are full of metallic luster. The giant mouth opened, revealing the crisscrossed white teeth in the mouth with sharp eyes and quick hands. Suyi quickly threw out his detection skills, and the information about that big fish soon appeared in his mind. Good guy. It turned out to be an 8th order monster. It's called the giant bone dragonfish. Of course, this giant bone dragonfish is not the common, huge bone dragonfish in the age of civilization. It is a database giant bone dragonfish, which has become more than 10 times larger in size and full of damage. Wow. After the giant bone dragonfish stayed in the air for a second or two, its huge body began to fall, and finally fell into the river again. The huge impact force scattered the river water. Many of them rushed to the shore, almost drowned Suyi and the others. The frightened little girls backed away again and again. My God, what is this? It's so big. Suzy let out a gasp. Suyi frowned slightly, and said in a deep voice, it seems that this river is not easy to pass. In the previous life, Suyi's strength could only be considered moderate. After entering the active secret realm, you can only be active in the second block at most. This third block, he can't get in, and he has no ability to get in. Of course, I have never seen this river at this moment. Day is like a tiger blocking the way of the army, which makes Suyi feel a little bit difficult. After thinking for a while without any clue, Suyi gave an order, retreat 5 kilometers and go back to the one just now. The second-level main city is repaired, and we can cross the river tomorrow. The army has been fighting for a whole day today, and most of its physical strength has been exhausted. Proper rest is absolutely essential. Suzy and the others heard the words, and there was no better way, so they had to do it. A group of people retreated, and finally lived in a second-level main city that was about 10 kilometers away from Day. It had already been captured. The soldiers began to rest, and Suyi and other lords began to feed food. After all the arms are settled, Suyi then rushed to eat and check the points ranking. By the way, as expected, Suyi's ranking is still behind the 10th place, and he is now in the 12th place, 1 place down from yesterday. The first place is still Tom Wright with more than 1.5 million points. Chapter 330, Giant Bone Arrow Anna and Thunderbird. Second watch for subscription. Takashita Shinmatsu in 2nd place, Kim Soo-hyun in 3rd place, and Ali Gaga in 4th place. The rankings have not changed. Points also rushed to more than 100,000. Sure enough, they are all a group of guys who want to compete for the first place. I'd like to see how long you can last. Looking at the rankings of these people, Suyi smiled contemptuously. After closing the leaderboard, Suyi is ready to eat. Chapter 219. After a sumptuous dinner, Suyi led the troops to rest. Needless to say, tomorrow, there will definitely be another big battle. Rest well and recover your strength is the kingly way. It was late at night, and the second-level main city where Suyi was stationed was quiet. Only some units are patrolling to ensure the safety of the main city. The other arms, as well as the Lord, have already fallen asleep in other locations of the active secret realm. The battle is still going on. These lords have always insisted on one truth: one step ahead. One step ahead. As long as you can crush your opponent in the early stage, you can always crush. But what they don't know is that starting tomorrow, a dark horse will rise the next day, just after dawn. Suyi had already woken up. No way. Since the Age of Lords, the electricity on the earth has completely disappeared, and there are no entertainment activities at night. Therefore, almost all job changers have developed the good habit of going to bed early and waking up early. Getting up at this moment, Suyi walked outside while moving his body. Sure enough, there are people who wake up earlier than me, such as Yafei. This guy is very hardworking. I got up early and was preparing breakfast for Suyi and the others. Suyi walked over, waking up Yafei, who was concentrating on it. Yeah, you're up. Yafei looked at Suyi in surprise. The latter nodded. Yafei turned her head and continued to do her own work, while saying, actually, you can wake up later and sleep more. The corner of Suyi's lips twitched, and he shook his head lightly. He is not the kind who likes to sleep late. He twitched his nose, and there was a strong fragrance in the air. Suyi was a little moved, stepped forward and hugged Yafei from behind. What delicious food! Yafai was about to speak when suddenly a voice came from behind him. I'll go, you too. The voice was Susie's. Yafai's pretty face blushed, and she quickly broke free from Suyi's arms. Suyi glared at Sukainer angrily. Shit, this little girl is too disappointing. Suzier also seemed to know that she was a little bit wrong, stuck out her tongue, and walked to the side weakly. Not long after, Duan Qinglian, Lin Yangxi, Fu and others joined together. Yafai had already prepared breakfast, and everyone sat around and started eating. After solving the problem of eating, under Dasui's order, head towards day. When we got to the river, it was still the same as yesterday. The river is slow and muddy, and it looks like nothing, but it contains great danger. What to do? How to cross the river? Eve asked. Suyi raised his brows. There are two methods. First, we use the unit ring to fly over with a unit. Second, we forcefully fight over. Yes, these are the two methods that Suyi thought of last night. Eve and the others looked at each other when they heard the words. Now, among these lords, there are quite a few people with unit rings, including Suyi, Su Kainer, Fang Yun, Duan Qinglian and Yafai. Do the math. There are 555 arms rings, but they are all rings of the lowest rank. Each can accommodate 100 units of arms. 555 is 500. Behind Suyi was an army of more than 10,000 soldiers. More than 20 times back and forth can be done. Although it is a bit troublesome, it is better than safety. Besides, considering the speed of the giant dragon, it shouldn't take much time. As for the second method proposed by Suyi to call, this is not realistic because among the more than 10,000 troops that Suyi brought this time, there was no such water-type troops. It is quite inconvenient to fight, so let the dragon do the hard work, Jeff suggested. Suyi nodded and snapped his fingers. Okay, let's do this. Get ready. With that said, Suyi went to the back, opened the arms ring, and put 100 dragon hunters into the ring in order to ensure the safety of the other side. Suyi is going to give priority to bringing the powerful troops there. Yafai, Suzier and other people who have arms rings follow suit soon. 5 people and 5 companies set off with 1,000 dragons and 1,500 flower fairies. Both are flying units, soaring high at this moment, ready to cross the river and enter the third block. But when the first batch of giant dragons, that is, Suyi's Qilai, flew to the middle of the river, sudden mutation. The gentle and turbid river below suddenly exploded. The next moment, hundreds of giant bone dragonfish jumped up, opened their huge mouths, and rushed towards the giant dragon in the sky. Seeing this scene, Suyi cursed secretly, and quickly ordered to attack. The giant dragons are not easy to provoke. Even if they attack those giant bone dragonfish at the same time, increase the flight altitude. This was the only way to avoid the attacks of these guys without any risk. Accurately reached the other side of the river and landed. But when they reached the other side of the river, just as they landed, the next round of attacks followed. It was a group of birds. That's right, the birdman. There are wings behind it. It looks very similar to human, and it has the ability to fly, and its rank is 8th Thunderbirdman level. 8th rank level. 2 HP. 17, 10,000 attack power. 75 defense power. 68 speed. 42 skill. Airpack. Launch a charge from the air, increasing the speed by 20% in a short time, launching a knowing blow to the enemy, causing huge damage. This skill has the ability to ignore 50% defense effect. Feather shooting. Summons the flying feathers and shoots them at the surrounding enemies, causing intensive massive damage, and has a 30% chance of causing tearing and bleeding effects. Tearing and bleeding effect. Lose 3% of the maximum HP per second, last for 3 seconds 3, and can be superimposed up to 3 layers. Thunder and electric shock. Every Thunderbird has been tempered by the Thunder Pond, and has the power to control lightning. During battle, it can summon lightning and create a thunder field within a radius of 50 meters, centered on itself. Enemies within this range cause paralysis and a lot of damage. Chapter 331. Entering the third block, rewarding 300,000 points. Subscription for the third watch. Glancing at the attributes of these birdmen, Suyi frowned slightly. Sure enough, this third block is not accessible to ordinary people. That is, he owns a giant dragon that can cross rivers and transport troops. If you change to other ordinary lords, just this river alone is enough to kill half your life. After finally getting to the other side of the river, I encountered a birdman again. 2 consecutive fierce attacks. If the strength is not enough, I'm afraid it will be a fard on Suyi's side. He was quite calm, and it has already been prepared for this. Immediately waved his hand and issued an order to attack in an instant. 1,000 giant dragons and 1,500 flower fairies scattered and joined the battle. One after another, the huge bodies of the giant dragons quickly joined the battlefield. Fighting with the birds. What surprised Suyu was that the aerial pecking skills of these birdmen can actually cause a lot of damage to the dragon, as many as thousands, and even a critical strike can cause more than 10,000 damage. This should be due to the fact that this skill can ignore 50% defense. Otherwise, how could these guys be able to break through the defense power of the giant dragons as high as tens of thousands? Fortunately, the thousands of, and occasionally tens of thousands of damage, the dragons can still withstand at the moment. These big guys are strong against the harm of the bird people, and start a war with the bird people. The flower fairies are relatively thin, their health is not as high as that of the dragon, and their defense is not as high as that of the dragon. If you touch the birdman forcefully, it may be dangerous. Therefore, Suyu asked Yao Fei to arrange for those flower fairies to teeter around the edge of the battlefield, provide fire support to the dragons. These guys' Huoxin cannon is a long-range attack skill. With one shot down, a birdman will lose 1/3 of its health. At the moment, there are about 20,000 birdmen gathered here. The giant dragons are relatively easy to resist. Quickly stabilize the formation, while suppressing the birdmen, while creating favorable output conditions for the flower fairies. The birds gradually fell into disadvantage, and began to release the lightning field one after another. The radius of this field is quite large, which is not easy to handle, so we can only rely on long-range strikes to consume them slowly. About half an hour later, the battle was coming to an end. The last birdman was torn in half with a fierce bite, and the flying feathers filled the sky, announcing the end of this war. The blazing wings retracted and fell from the sky first. The ground under their feet is full of bird bodies, many, very dense, and very messy. Other dragons and flower fairies also landed one after another. Then the defensive formation was deployed on the spot. At the same time, the notification that Suyu entered the third block has already sounded in the minds of all the lords in the event's secret territory. The Lord of the Sky Alliance, Star Territory Suyu, successfully entered the third block. Since he is the first lord to set foot on the third block, he will be rewarded with 300,000 points. Chapter 220. When the notification sounded, Suyu's points soared by 300,000, and with a whoosh, he jumped directly from the 12th place to the 9th place, and this also successfully caused a sensation among all the lords in the secret territory of the Event Heaven Alliance. Eden territory. Tom Wright was stunned. After hesitating for a while, he came back to his senses. He grabbed Shirley's shoulders with both hands and shook them crazily. What's going on? Who is this Suyi? How did he enter the third block? Shirley was also confused, and was shaken by Tom Wright. Quickly opened the points ranking to check. Only then did he discover that Suyi, a Chinese lord, had been hovering at the 11th place before. Now suddenly there is such a big movement. This made Shirley very uncomfortable. All along, his focus has been on the top 5 in the standings. Keep an eye on these guys, for fear that their points will catch up. But now, they never thought that a dark horse like Suyu would appear. Report that the Lord Suyu is a Chinese lord. He was ranked 12th before, but now he is ranked 9th. Hillary Road. Tom Wright clenched the hilt of the sword in his hand and roared angrily, Z10, I didn't expect this guy to enter the third block before me. This is a kind of humiliation to me. Send me an order to end the battle here. After, immediately go to the third block. The corners of Shirley's eyes twitched, thinking inwardly that Tom Wright changed his face really fast. He also said before that he will make a big splash in the second block, and talk about entering the third block in the last 3 days. But now Fuji Alliance, Yaki Territory. Takashita Jinsong is resting. He suddenly heard the news that Suyu had entered the third block, which made him jump up from the top. Baga, what's going on? That? Suyu, what's the matter? With this roar, several female lords who were sleeping next to him were carried away in an instant. Several people looked at each other in blank dismay, and quickly opened the points ranking to check, then truthfully informed Takashita Jinsong of the news. The latter blew his beard and stared angrily, and slapped the wooden table with a slap. Assemble the army for me. We also want to enter the third block. Hurry up. God Oil Country God Cow Alliance, Kobaru Territory. Alaga became furious, immediately gave up the siege, and ordered to march towards the third block. Let tens of thousands of allied forces of God Bull bewildered. Bang Bang Country Kimchi Alliance, Gold Star Territory. Kim Su Hyun gave the order to give up the siege and start marching into the third block. It can be said that Suyu's feat of suddenly entering the third block has already made many top lords crazy. They have already seen the difference between a first level block and a second level block. So how rich are the points in the third level block? The most important thing is that there are points rewards for entering the third block. This is something that the second block does not have. No matter what, never let others take the lead. Let's go in first. This is the idea in the hearts of all the lords. Among them, The other two from Huaxia are naturally included. Zhang Xianaya and Xiao Yi. Hegemony dominates the world. Just as Zhang Xianaya got the news, he was walking towards the door when he bumped into Zhang Jun and Li Yuntao. The three of them looked at each other, and they all saw the thoughts in each other's eyes. Chapter 332. The lords are shocked. Sure enough, we still underestimated Su Yi. Zhang Xianaya smiled wryly. Compared to the other lords in the top 20, the three of them knew Su Yi best. After all, the two sides have met and chatted, and they have some connections. However, after entering the event's secret realm, Su Yi's ranking has been stagnant, which makes Zhang Xianaya and the others extremely confused because this is impossible. They are very clear about Su Yi's strength. How could a guy with such strength be so low in the ranking? Until now, Zhang Xianaya and the three of them realized that Su Yi's goal from the very beginning was not the first block, nor the second block, but the third block with the highest difficulty. So, along the way, he went straight to the third block without stopping. This caused Su Yi to spend most of his time on the road. There is not much time to really capture the main city until today. Su Yi suddenly broke into the third block. He was noticed by other lords. I'm afraid that in the next few days, this black horse will show its fangs, Li Yuntao said, his voice low and low but with a lot of firmness. Zhang Xianaya nodded. He agreed with Li Yuntao's opinion. He knew Su Yi well. This guy is definitely a big boss and strong enough. The reward for the first place in the secret realm of this event is so rich, he can't let it go. It's just that before breaking into the third block, he has been forbearing. Now, it's time to explode. Xianaya, what do we need to do to stay in the second block, or enter the third block? Zhang Jun asked. Now in his view, this is the most important question. Hearing this, Zhang Xianaya pondered for a moment, then clenched his fists. Go to the third block. If I'm not mistaken, I'm afraid all the powerful lords will rush to the third block after Su Yi made such a fuss. How can we be willing to be second to others? Zhang Jun and Li Yuntao looked at each other and nodded together. No matter what, it's here, you have to go and see it. Then, the three of them reached a consensus, and began to order, leading an elite army of more than 80,000, to go straight to the third block. Of course, because three didn't have such consciousness before, the current position of 3 people 3 is still a long way from the barrier to enter the third block. It takes time to get there. On the other side, in front of the third block barrier of an active secret realm, there is a large army stationed here. The number is about, the leaders are Xiao Yi and Li Xinglan. At this moment, they are facing the big river in front of them, and their faces are a bit complicated. Fuck, what about this Su Yi? They popped up all of a sudden and took our lead. Xiao Yi's fists were clenched and creaked after entering the second block. His thoughts were the same as Su Yi's. Instead of aggressively attacking the main city of the second block, they set their sights on the third block. Cooperate with Li Xinglan and go straight to the third block, but never thought that Su Yi took the first step, entered the third block ahead of schedule. This made Xiao Yi very uncomfortable. He was always a competitive person, seeing that his first place was robbed. Not only that, Su Yi, who robbed the ranking, also got an extra 300,000 points. This made Xiao Yi even more angry. Li Xinglan saw all of this in his eyes, and seeing Xiao Yi panicked, he stepped forward and hugged the latter. Don't worry, take your time, our progress is already considered fast. As long as we pass this big river, we can also enter the third block. Xiao Yi didn't think so. He glared at Li Xinglan madly. What do you know, woman? What I want is number 1. Do you understand? Number 1. Li Xinglan gritted her silver teeth, not knowing what to say. The two were speechless, and after a while, the anger in Xiao Yi's heart seemed to have dissipated a lot. He sighed softly, and looked at Li Xinglan. Forget it, the first place has already been robbed, and the second place I absolutely must guard. Pass down the order, let's cross the river. Li Xinglan nodded. Turn around and walk to commanding height, then activate the talent. Xiao Yi's army had just finished a battle, and it was already exhausted. If you want to cross the river, you must recover your stamina. Li Xinglan raised her hands high, and bits and pieces of light fell from her side and fall into the camp of the arms below. The arms that seemed a little sluggish at first cheered up one after another, and their physical strength began to recover. The whole process lasted over an hour. When Li Xinglan stopped moving and opened his eyes again, the troops around her have all regained their strength, but Li Xinglan felt dizzy for a while, and fell to the ground directly. Her pretty face was covered with sweat, her lips were white, and she was panting heavily in the process of recovering the physical strength of the troops just now. Her spirit has been severely overdrawn. That feeling is so uncomfortable. The voice of Xiao Yi giving an order came from the front. The army that has recovered its strength continues to move forward. Looking at Xiao Yi's back, Li Xinglan smiled. As long as you can help Xiao Yi fulfill his wish, you should be tired. Struggling to get up, Li Xinlin walked towards Xiao Yi after recovering some strength. The latter has completed the mobilization of the army. It was only at this moment that he noticed Li Xinlin behind him, and seeing her pale face, he narrowed his eyes. Are you okay? Chapter 221. Xiao Yi supported Li Xinlin and asked. Li Xinlin shook his head. It's okay, I'm just a little tired. Let the army cross the river. Xiao Yi looked Li Xinlin up and down to make sure that there was nothing wrong with the latter. Only then did he get on his mount and supervise the troops crossing the river. Unfortunately, unlike Su Yi, he has flying units to cross the river. His army needs to swim directly through the river, and this is bound to be very dangerous. Sure enough, after the first batch of troops were launched into the water, immediately then he was attacked by the giant bone dragonfish in the river in an instant. The muddy river surged up, huge figures stirred in the river. The troops that had already entered the water had nowhere to hide, and many of them were bitten by the giant bone dragonfish and dragged into the river. Chapter 333. Capture the first Tier 3 main city. Subscribe for the second update. Immediately, blood gushed out of the river, which was terrifying. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yi frowned, and quickly ordered the army to retreat. The army struggling in the river had no choice but to retreat after coming up from the river. Their numbers have been greatly reduced. This made Xiao Yi furious. Bastard, why is this river so scary? Li Xinlin did not expect this result. The already pale face became paler. She grabbed Xiao Yi and said, what to do? We can't get through. Xiao Yi's face was gloomy, and he scolded angrily. I don't believe it yet. There must be a way. Let me think about it. With that said, Xiao Yi began to call all the lords who had entered the secret realm and hold a meeting. I want to discuss with everyone to see if there is a way to cross the river. At the same time, Su Yi, who has already entered the third block, has completed the transfer of arms. All arms have set foot on the third block. What appeared in front of their eyes at this moment was an endless mountain range. The dense jungle covers it, and it is full of vitality. Of course, it also comes with extreme danger. Let's go. Now, we want to capture all the third-level main cities we see. Su Yi ordered. The third block is the location of the final battle, and there is only one active secret realm. This means that all the lords who enter here will appear in the same place as Su Yi. There will be more and more lords entering here. However, the number of Tier 3 main cities is fixed. Therefore, Su Yi must occupy more third-level territories before more competitors appear. In this way, he can complete a gorgeous counterattack, successfully beat everyone. Su Zhi, Lin Yangxi and the others were also full of energy. When they heard the words, they got on their mounts one after another, and under the leadership of Su Yi, they headed towards the mountains ahead. Su Yi took out the map and kept adjusting the direction. Finally, after 20 minutes, they encountered the first third-level main city. The scale of the main city at this level is really big. The second-level main city encountered earlier, the first-level main city is in front of the third-level main city. That is rubbish. The city wall is several thousand meters long and 20 meters high. The city walls are densely packed with defenders, and it's a solid defender. According to the information provided by the active secret realm, the number of defenders of the third-level main city is about. This is not a small amount on Su Yi's side. There are only arms. That also means that he wants to capture a third-level main city. Every unit under your hand must explode with a strength of 1 against 10, otherwise, it's just empty talk. After briefly analyzing the terrain of the main city ahead, Su Yi already had a solution. He waved Yafei, even the others over, pointing to the third-level main city road. This city is covered by mountains to the west and north, and the south and west are open areas. Later, I will lead the giant dragon charged from the south to track the firepower of the garrison as much as possible. The Flower Fairy, Dragon Hunter, and Beast Summoner, 3 third-level and 8th-level units, charged from the north, launch a surprise attack on the mountains to the front, and the rest of the troops, when the battle begins, assist from the south. Even the others looked at each other when they heard this. After carefully thinking about the meaning of Su Yi's words, Kiki nodded. Understood. Seeing that everyone has no doubts, Su Yi clenched his fists. Okay, let's go. After finishing speaking, Su Yi rode on Blazing Summon the dragons and prepared to strike. And Yafei, Eve, and Su Zhi, with their respective arms, walked around the ancient interior next to them, and successfully reached the top of the mountain north of the third-level main city. From there, they can condescendingly see the whole picture of the main city below. With a loud dragon roar, the attack began. Su Yi rode Blazing, took 1,000 giant dragons into the air, and flew towards the south wall of the third-level main city. The appearance of the giant dragon quickly attracted the attention of the defenders on the city wall. The ranks of the defenders of the city wall are uneven. The highest is the 8th rank, and the lowest is the 6th rank. There are many types. After Su Yi brought the giant dragons into the attack range, those long-range attack units immediately launched an attack. What kind of magic bullets? What arrows? What horses, cannonballs, etc., densely came to greet Suyi. Suyi cursed secretly, and ordered the sacred dragon to start putting on the shield as the strongest auxiliary dragons. The role they can play in a battle can be called terrifying at this moment. Under Suyi's order, these guys started to put on shields, put a shield on each of the charging dragons, then continue to charge. All kinds of oncoming attacks fell on the dragon shield, which could only cause violent ripples, but they cannot harm themselves. That's it. The giant dragons forcibly resisted the dense attacks of the defenders on the city wall, and successfully approached the city wall. The attack begins. All kinds of dragon breath, ice crystals, lightning, and black mist greeted the city wall as if they didn't want money. In an instant, the health of the defenders on the city wall dropped like a diarrhea collapse. Things started to get a little confusing, and this just provided the giant dragons with a better opportunity to expand. The attack continued, and the defenders on the wall were in chaos. The alarm bell was also sounded and spread throughout the entire third-tier main city. Just when the entire third-tier main city began to stir up behind the main city, that is, on the mountain range where Eve and the others arrived, countless arrows appear, and countless summoned beasts appear. There is also the flower fairy, carrying the flower fairy cannon, rushing forward mightily. In an instant, flowers exploded in the third-level main city. In just 10 minutes, tens of thousands of monsters were killed. The rest of the monsters were also in disarray. What's more, they didn't even know what to do, and just stayed where they were. Then it became a living target for Suyi's troops. 20 minutes later, the city wall was breached and the situation was settled. Fang Yun, Duan Qinglian, and Lin Yangxi sent a large army to attack, follow the dragon's ass, attack the city in one fell swoop, and start a fierce battle with the only remaining defenders. Chapter 334 Beginning to overtake. Black Horse Suyi. Subscribe for the third watch, asking for flowers, asking for tickets, asking for everything. The next battle is naturally a foregone conclusion. Suyi's army arrived, although there were a lot of remnants in the third-level main city, but he was beaten and defeated in less than 2 hours. He was pinched to death, and the entire main city was covered with corpses of various colors. It piled up like a mountain, and the blood flowed like a river. It looked extremely terrifying. Suyi descended from the sky riding blazing, stood on the city wall and scanned the city in front of him. His eyes flickered wherever he scanned. He could see many dropped resource packs and various materials. This can be regarded as a reward for capturing this third-level main city. Needless to say, Eve, Lin Yangxi and the others have already brought their troops to clean up the battlefield. Suyi, on the other hand, took this opportunity to go to the main city hall. After the authentication is completed, the points will be credited to the account, and at the same time, the prompt sound will also sound in the minds of all the lords in the territory. Suyi, the leader of the Sky Alliance and the lord of the Star Domain, successfully occupied the third-level main city and gained 100,000 points. As soon as the notification sound came out, the entire event secret territory was in an uproar again. It was less than 3 hours since Suyi entered the third-level block, and this guy had captured the first third-level main city. My god, is this guy a devil? Tom Wright, Takashita Jinsong, Kim Soo-hyun, Ali Gaga and other lords who were already very angry and anxious about Suyi's entry into the third-level block became even more angry. Chapter 222. Order the army to speed up and go straight to the third-level block. But is the road to the secondary block so easy to walk? Of course not. In the second-level block, there are many main cities, and there are also many rebellious troops refreshed in the wilderness, and the scale of each Chaos Army is not small. There are 40 to 50,000, as many as monsters. And what about the Chaos Army? The overall description is a random word. Seeing the Lord's army will attack all of a sudden. These rebellious troops refreshed in the second-level block became a roadblock for the lords while being very difficult to deal with. It is also killing their time quickly. In addition, these lords gave death orders from the very beginning, allowing the arms to fight uninterruptedly. Now, their armies are already exhausted. How can they advance quickly? Due to various factors, the advance speed of these lords has decreased again and again. I'm afraid I won't be able to enter the third-level block within 2 days, and this happened to be Suyi's best development opportunity. It's time to use the physical strength of the arms he has been saving before the battle was over, and Suyi sat in front of the main hall of the third-level main city checking your points before entering the third-level block. His points were 860,000, and the reward for entering the third-level block was 300,000. Plus 100,000 for occupying the first third-level main city, and scattered points for killing monsters. The current Suyi has as many as 1.45 million points. It has already rushed to the 5th place in the ranking. Squeeze Suyi from the original position. At the same time, there is only less than 400,000 points away from the first place Tom Wright, It seems that the speed of crushing you is faster than I imagined, Suyu thought to himself. A smirk formed on the corner of his lips. Now is the 5th day of the opening of the event Secret Realm. There are still 5 days left. Suyu will show his grand plans and surpass those lords. Wouldn't it be easy? Just as Suyu was thinking, Suzu, even others who had already packed up the battlefield came over. That's great, bro. We're already in 5th place, and we're only 300,000 points away from the 1st place, and we'll surpass them soon. Su Kainer waved her small fist and said excitedly. Suyu stood up from the steps and coughed lightly on purpose. Low-key, isn't this the 1st place yet? Even the others were speechless. If you keep a low profile on your lips, you might be happier than anyone else in your heart. Leader, what do you do next? Feng Yun suddenly asked. Suyu raised his hand and looked at his watch. The time is now 11 o'clock in the morning. There are still several hours before dark, which cannot be wasted. It's still early. Call up the army, feed the food, and quickly recover your strength. Let's strive to get back the 1st place today. When everyone heard the words, they looked at each other, thinking in their hearts that Suyu's ambition was not small. Of course, they were more excitement about winning 1st place. I don't know how those lords will feel after seeing the black horse Suyu. In the following time, everyone followed Suyu's request and gathered all the troops at the same time. Feed food to quickly restore physical strength. Finally, under the leadership of Suyu, they continued to set off. Considering the strength of the 3rd-tier main city, Suyu did not plan to split up. Besides, he now has enough time to capture the 3rd-level main city, so there is no need to take risks. After leaving the 3rd-level main city, Suyu opened the map. The nearest 2nd 3rd-level main city was selected. Send troops to go after arriving. Simply formulate tactics, and then attack. It's the same as the previous, level 3 main city. In less than 3 hours, the main city was breached. After the army entered the city, Suyu began to authenticate the main city. Suyu, the Lord of the Sky Alliance and the Lord of the Star Domain, successfully occupied the 3rd-level main city and gained 100,000 points. The beep sounded again. It once again shocked the hearts of all the lords. Tom Wright, who was huffing and rushing towards the 3rd block, almost fell off his mount. Damn, you are too shameless. Everyone has not even entered the 3rd-level block, and you have been marked with K. Suyu, so how can you care about these people's feelings? The attack is still going on. 6 hours later, the 3rd and 4th tier 3 main cities were captured one after another with a blessing of hundreds of thousands of points. Suyu's total points exceeded 1.9 million in one fell swoop. Tom Wright overtook the 2nd place with nearly 200,000 points. He has successfully established himself as the number 1 position at this time. It happened to be dark. It was really inconvenient to fight again, so Suyu led his troops back to the main city to rest. He can rest. But those other lords who are rushing to the 1st place are destined to have a sleepless night. Suyu appeared. They couldn't sleep. Chapter 336. Crazy Xiaoyu, huge loss at night. The river crossing begins. Xiaoyu's army formed a line and walked into the river, then head to the other side of the river. The movement of the arms, the river water was stirred, and there was a crisp sound. This is very obvious in the silence of the night. Down the river for 5 minutes. Did not encounter giant bone dragonfish attack. The troops at the forefront have successfully reached the middle of the river. Xiaoyu's tense heart relaxed a little. It's done, he secretly said in his heart. At the same time, he ordered the soldiers to continue to move forward and cross the river in an orderly manner. But just when the first batch of arms was about to land, sudden mutation. The calm river suddenly surged. A giant bone dragonfish, which hadn't appeared for a long time, emerged from the river like a cat smelling fishy. Afterwards, they began to attack randomly the units already soaked in the river. Why do you say it is random here? Because Xiaoyu's guess before is indeed correct. At night, those giant bone dragonfish can't see much. What guides them to attack now should be the movement made by the troops crossing the river, and because they can't see things, they can't determine the attack target, so these guys can only attack indiscriminately. Not as damaging as a daytime explicit attack though, but that so many giant bone dragonfishes moved in an instant, which still put enormous pressure on the soldiers in the river. They are all terrified during the day. At this moment, he was startled by the giant bone dragonfish, and suddenly panicked. The originally neat and orderly team suddenly became chaotic when Xiaoyu saw this scene. He immediately cursed angrily, standing on a giant troop, shouting loudly, "Calm down, maintain a good formation, keep going, and you will be safe when you land." The continuous yelling calmed down the panicked soldiers. A lot started to forcibly withstand the attack of the giant bone dragonfish, and approached the other side of the river. Finally landed one after another. After tossing for 2 hours, all arms have completed crossing the river. Xiaoyu jumped off his mount. His body was wet. Looking at the 3rd block in front of him, His heart was already soaring. He succeeded and successfully entered the third block. Moreover, he is the second person in the world to enter here. The notification tone has sounded, echoing in the minds of all the living lords. The leader of the Yangtze Alliance, Xiaoyi, the lord of the Yangtze territory, successfully entered the block. Because he is the second lord to enter the third block, and he is specially rewarded with 20,000 points, the voice spread through the minds of all the lords, waking many people up from their sleep in the third block. Suyi is already in a certain main city. Suddenly opened his eyes, then opened the message reminder. When you see the name Xiaoyi above, his pupils shrank sharply. Second, I didn't expect him to be interesting, Suyi muttered, and didn't bother to care about it anymore. Closed the information panel, and closed his eyes again. The second block, a certain activity secret place, where the allied forces of heaven are stationed. Tom Wright, who had just finished a fierce battle, was soundly asleep. Suddenly, he was awakened by a notification sound in his head. Let the guy jump out of bed with a thud. The female lord beside her with scars all over her body paled in fright. Tears flowed out all at once. I'm afraid Tom Wright will give her another meal. Torture. Chapter 223. This is so fatal. Fortunately, Tom Wright is not there. At this moment, all his attention is attracted by the news in his mind. Eyes protruding, fists clenched tightly, making a creaking sound. Huaxia, it's Huaxia again. Xiaoyi, what is the origin of this bastard? Tom Wright was furious after opening the points ranking panel, glanced at the names on it. Then at the 6th position, Xiaoyi was discovered ranking at this level. It enters the third block at the 2nd place. This made Tom Wright frustrated. How could this happen? How could this happen? Are these bastards all negotiated? Tom Wright grabbed his hair with both hands, as if he couldn't believe this fact. After a while, he gradually calmed down, muttering in his mouth, wait until I enter the third block, I will look good with you. As he said that, out of the corner of his eye, he caught a glimpse of the female lord with pear blossoms and rain. Inevitably, there was another burst of anger rising in my heart. Come here. The same situation also happened to several other leaders. Suyi has entered the third block and won the first throne. This has become a fact. Those lords who rushed to the first place chose to accept the reality, but who would have expected it within 20 hours after Suyi, the second lord to enter the third block, has appeared. It was Xiaoyi, a guy who was neither high nor low, coming from China. These lords feel very uncomfortable. What's more, they even secretly decided in their hearts that after entering the third block, they would take Suyi and Xiaoyi under the knife. Sometimes, people's jealousy is terrible. Just when those lords were in a state of despair and couldn't sleep at night, Xiaoyi, who just entered the third block, has already met the second test of entering the third block. Leader, the number of the army has been checked, and there are only 498 combat units left. In the previous 6 crossings, we lost a total of 125 soldiers, a lord reported to Xiaoyi in a deep voice. As soon as his words fell, Xiaoyi hadn't had time to answer. The army that had already settled down in front suddenly started to riot. Immediately afterwards, screams and roars came. The faces of Xiaoyi and other lords changed drastically. What happened? What happened? Xiaoyi asked angrily. Soon, a lord ran towards Xiaoyi in a panic, and threw himself in front of Xiaoyi. Master, something is wrong. There are monsters appearing in chaos. There are a lot of them, and they are attacking our camp. When Xiaoyi heard this, he thought it was okay. He just came out of the river, and his clothes were not dry yet. Then it turned out that this was deliberately trying to force Xiaoyi to a dead end. Chapter 337, Never Catching Up with Suyi. Second watch for subscription. But now is not the time to talk about these things and think about them. Xiaoyi clenched his fist and immediately ordered, quick, get ready to face the battle. Let all the units take action. The surrounding lords nodded in unison, and spread out in all directions, preparing to lead their own army to face the monster army that appeared. Xiaoyi also ran forward. Suddenly he seemed to remember something, grabbed the lord who reported the letter just now, and asked coldly, by the way, how many rebellious troops are there in this wave? Have you seen it? The lord made a fuss, and then blurted out, the black lights are blind, I can't see clearly, but judging from the movement, the number is definitely not less than 50,000. As soon as these words came out, Xiaoyi really panicked. Not less than 50,000. Isn't that more than the number of his allies? And it's a high-level monster. The difference in numbers, coupled with the obstruction of vision in the dark night, and the fright in the river just now, and the loss of physical strength of the troops, this is so bad, I'm afraid there will be heavy casualties. Xiaoyi swallowed a mouthful of saliva. His heart twitched for the first time after entering the activity secret realm. While rushing forward, he thought about countermeasures. The battle ahead has completely broken out. A battle line was drawn very long just coming out of the river. The terrified Allied army is fighting fiercely with a group of monsters compared with Su Yi. Xiao Yi's luck is not so good. The army of monsters besieging him numbered 60,000. Most of the equal ranks are the 6th rank, some of the 7th rank, and some of the 8th rank. If these disorderly troops gather in one place and launch a surprise attack, they can really pose a considerable threat to the Allied forces. Hearing the screams coming from ahead, Xiao Yi's heart was bleeding. These are the vital forces he was going to use to capture the main city of the third block. Now they are being slaughtered mercilessly. In desperation, Xiao Yi had no choice but to take out some scrolls of forbidden spells in the memory of his lord's space. There is no way, in order to protect the Allied forces, he can only use this last trump card. Entering the battlefield, Xiao Yi took out the scroll of forbidden curse, open it and release it, and throw it into the monster camp ahead. The flames all over the sky fell from the sky, killing many monsters in a short time. At the same time, it also successfully shook the heel of the monster army. The attack continued, and scrolls of forbidden spells were thrown out one after another. A large number of monsters were killed in disorder. Xiao Yi's face was gloomy, full of pain. Forbidden spell scrolls are not so easy to come by, although very useful, but the number is really limited. But now, at the end of the road, I can only fight. The battle ended after 3 hours. More than 40,000 of the 60,000 monster army were killed, and most of them were killed by the curse skill. Seeing that the momentum was wrong, the rest all ran away, but that's good too. It gave Xiao Yi time. Exhausted, Xiao Yi returned to the rear of the Allied forces, panting heavily. Suddenly footsteps came from behind. Looking back, it was Li Xinlin who came. Her face was still pale, looking at the haggard and tired Xiao Yi. The two looked at each other speechlessly. 20 minutes later, the casualty report has been counted and reported it to Xiao Yi's ears. There were only 49,000 Allied troops left, but they were raided by monsters just now. Even though Xiao Yi had tried his best all out to the rescue, but it still caused quite a few casualties. 8,000 Allied troops were killed, only 41 left. Listening to this report, Xiao Yi's complexion was worse than eating shit. With so few troops left, what would he use to fight for the third-level main city? Li Xinlin knew Xiao Yi well, and knew that he was upset at the moment. He took a few steps forward and sat down next to Xiao Yi, gently stroked his head. It's okay. If we can't get first, we will grab second. If we can't get second, we will grab third, fourth, fifth. These words pierced Xiao Yi's heart like a steel needle. He closed his eyes and breathed heavily. The next day, Su Yi got up early as usual, eat breakfast, feed the troops, then gather the troops and set off. He marked the third-level main city to be attacked today. Last night a total of 555. If it's faster, it shouldn't be a problem. Take Su Zir and others and set off directly, riding a giant dragon. Facing the strong wind, go straight to the nearest third-tier city, then go to war. After paying more than 2 hours and some casualties, the third-level main city was successfully destroyed. Su Yi, the leader of the Sky Alliance and the Lord of the Star Domain, successfully captured the third-level main city and gained 100,000 points. The beep sounded again this time. The sensation was not so great because all the lords are numb. Their hearts are subconsciously accepting the reality of Su Yi. The group of dark horses, among them Tom Wright, Takashita Shinmatsu, and others are also included. If there is a chance to envy and hate Su Yi, it is better to think of a way to enter the third block faster. This is the business. If you can't enter the third block, you will never be able to catch up with Su Yi. At the same time, Xiao Yi's army rested overnight in the wilderness on the edge of the third block. Under Xiao Yi's arrangement, they approached the nearest third-level main city anyway. The third block is here, so I have to go and see what the third-level main city looks like. When I arrived at the third-level main city, seeing the majesty of the city wall and the scale of the city, the lords under Xiao Yi's command were a little bit surprised. Hesitate, but Xiao Yi didn't. He still insisted on his way. After making a simple combat deployment, order the attack directly. Then, he was hit hard. After fighting for an hour, he paid 2,000 casualties and successfully replaced the 40,000 defenders in the third-level main city. The soldiers suffered from severe physical exhaustion, so they had no choice but to retreat. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224. Then Li Xinlin restores the strength of the troops. Attack again. After replacing the 30,000 defenders of the third-level main city, they retreated again. Then Li Xinlin regained the strength of the troops. It's slowly cycling like this. Finally, After attacking 3 times and fighting for 10 hours, Xiaoyu captured the first third-level main city. The record is gratifying, but the price is also huge. Nearly 5,000 troops were killed. Let the already scarce allies become less. Chapter 338, More wolves and less meat. Settled in this newly captured third-level main city, Xiaoyu looked at the allied troops clearing up the battlefield with complicated expressions in his eyes. He was thinking, is it really worth it for him to do this? The previous sieges were almost all exchanged with the lives of soldiers. This is already the case for attacking a third-level main city. If he attacked more third-level main cities, wouldn't it mean that his allies would have to lose more and so stacked up? I'm afraid he would wipe out all his background. But then again, Xiaoyu paid a huge price, finally came to this third block. If he didn't come up with something, he felt sorry for himself again. After struggling in his heart for a while, Xiaoyu clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. If you don't have the chance to be number 1, then at least you have to be in the top 3. Saying that, Xiaoyu got off the city wall, walked towards the city after the troops had packed up the battlefield. He called all the lords to hold a meeting, explain the current situation and his thoughts. The lords looked at each other. Upon hearing this, some of them expressed support for Xiaoyu's decision. Another part said that the gain outweighed the loss, and advised Xiaoyu to let go as soon as possible. If it continues like this, it will be of no benefit to anyone in the end. But Xiaoyu is a lunatic through and through. He looked at the lords who persuaded him to let go, and said coldly, if we let go now, wouldn't our previous efforts be in vain? The lords were speechless. They knew Xiaoyu's character well, and decided not to compete with Xiaoyu in this matter, so things settled down like this. On the other hand, Suyu's journey to attack the third-level main city can be said to be smooth and smooth. The casualties paid have also become less and less. The troops under his hands have even begun to get used to capturing the third-level main city, know how to use the fastest speed, the least casualties, in exchange for the greatest benefit. In this way, the 555 Level 3 main city plans that Suyu arranged early in the morning were quickly completed. It was getting dark. Suyu took his troops into the nearest third-level main city to rest. During the dinner, he listened to the whispered discussions of the little girls. Currently our points are 2.5,800,000 ahead of the second place Tom Wright. It seems that the first place is ours, Su Kyaner said, with a look of pride in her eyes. Lin Yangxi and Duan Qinglian nodded in agreement. I think so, too, and I don't know what kind of a bird this is. I can probably imagine the expression on his face. It must be better than eating. Yofei and the others laughed lightly when they heard this, and completely lost the sense of depression of being behind a dozen or so. Seeing this scene, Suyi frowned a little. He coughed lightly. Don't be too happy. There are still 4 days before the closure of the secret realm. I am afraid that tomorrow there will be a third lord who enters the third block, and then real terror will erupt. The little girls looked at each other when they heard the words, as if they didn't understand the meaning of Suyi's words. In fact, what Suyi meant was very simple. The third block is the final block. There is only one active secret realm, and the number of third-level main cities refreshed in the secret realm is also limited. Suyi specially counted them, and there were only 100 of them. What does this mean? Wolves are more meaty as more and more forces enter the third block. Battles will start to break out here. Suyi entered 2 days in advance, occupied a large number of third-level main cities, and ranked first in points. This will inevitably arouse the envy and jealousy of other lords. One is not good. These people are afraid that they will join forces to cause trouble for Suyi, and this is what Suyi is most worried about. Monsters are not scary, because they don't have a suitable commander, and they have a whole body of strength, but they can't erupt too much threat. But the lord is different. Like Suyi, they are human beings, scheming people. They even cooperate when confronted with a common enemy. Hearing Suyi's words, the little girls fell silent. They are not stupid. After a little association, they will know what is involved. After dinner, Suyi took Eve back to the room to rest. The other side, Alliance of Heaven, territory of Eden, Tom Wright finally led the army to the big river leading to the third block. It is night now. With the light of the torch, Tom Wright could vaguely see the scale of the river. It's not big, only 200 meters wide. On the other side of the river is the third block that Tom Wright has longed for. He felt himself trembling slightly. Without waiting for others to speak, he raised his arms and called out, "All gather and prepare to cross the river." Hilly, who was following closely behind, frowned when he heard the words, and hurried to Tom Wright. "Master, it's night now, and our sight is blocked. If we cross the river, we may be in danger." As soon as the words fell, Tom Wright slapped and crack. Shirley was knocked to the ground. Tom Wright looked at Hilly condescendingly. "You idiot, the third block is right in front of us. We can't waste any more time. Listen to my order. Immediately cross the river, immediately." Shirley held his swollen right cheek, wiped the blood overflowing from the corner of his lips, and could only nod when the other lords around saw Hilly's end. They didn't dare to say much. According to Tom Wright's richness, he quickly called up the troops, and then united with one and started to cross the river. The soldiers entered the water, flicked the river surface, and made the sound of splashing water, which was very obvious in the silent night like Zioyi before. The units that had reached the middle of the river did not encounter any attacks. Tom Wright stood on the shore, watching this scene, and glanced proudly at Hilly. "The danger you mentioned is there." Shirley lowered her head, not daring to look into Tom Wright's eyes. When the first batch of soldiers were about to reach the other side of the river, Tom Wright had preliminarily determined that there was no danger in the river. Immediately ordered the army to go down the river together, including himself. He also stood on the back of a huge crocodile and crossed the river with a large group. But when he reached the middle of the river, which was originally calm, suddenly surged. The huge crocodile he was sitting on seemed to sense something, and its thick limbs swung wildly and swam forward. Chapter 339. Just out of the tiger's den, and into the wolf's den. Most of the other arms around also reacted in this way. This made Tom Wright a little confused. Just as he was about to ask what happened, he suddenly felt his body sinking suddenly. Immediately afterwards, the icy river water wrapped his whole body. His mouth was open when he fell into the water, causing him to gulp and drink several sips of muddy river water entrance, with a faint fishy smell, the kind of a periodic table of elements in one bite. "Fuck. There's something in the river," Tom Wright yelled. He saw with his own eyes that the crocodile he was riding just now was quickly dismembered by several black shadows in the river. The bright red blood spread in the river water, looking extremely terrifying. Tom Wright was so frightened that his limbs swayed wildly in the river. Suddenly, something hit him in the back under the huge force. The body was forcibly pressed into the river. Until then, with the help of the bright fire on the river, he could see clearly what was in the river. That is a big fish with a body over 10 meters. There are a lot of them, and they are rampaging while sleeping. Many soldiers floating on the water were dragged into the water by big fish and torn to pieces. Tom Wright turned pale, frantically waved his hands, and swam towards the surface of the water. At the same time, the Allied forces on the water were also in chaos. The screams and roars were mixed together, making it very noisy. Hilly and other lords are frantically looking for Tom Wright. Just now, they all saw Tom Wright fall into the river. This guy is sometimes annoying though, but his leadership and cohesion are there, and he can make the Paradise Alliance into the strongest alliance in cowboys, which is enough to see his terror now. He fell into the water. Could it be swallowed by a big fish? Just as I was thinking, a head suddenly appeared in the river. Chapter 225. At the same time, there was Tom Wright's cry for help. "Shit, help me, I'm here, pull me up quickly." Gilulu, seeing this, Shirley and the Lord didn't dare to be negligent, and hurriedly approached, and then pulled Tom Wright out of the water. Tom Wright, who survived the catastrophe, was lying on the back of another huge monster. His whole body was soaked, panting heavily. The golden hair sticks to the scalp. Looking so embarrassed, Shirley glanced around, and when he saw a large number of troops being dragged into the water, his heart twitched violently. "Master, what should we do now?" Tom Wright also regained his composure, glanced at the situation, and made a decisive decision. "Hurry up, speed up and cross the river. You must pass." Now most of the arms can only bite the bullet and rush forward. Of course, there was another reason for Tom Wright's order. That's what he thinks. Suyi and Zioyi, two Chinese guys, can cross this river. Why can't he just bite the bullet and just jump over the wall? But how did he know that Suyi used a giant dragon to cross the river? Zioyi crossing the river use life hack. So does Tom Wright. Hilly and other lords heard the news, knew the seriousness of the matter, and did not neglect immediately, and then ordered the troops to continue crossing the river. Therefore, Tom Wright, the 100,000 army, forcibly resisted the attack of the giant bone dragonfish in the river, and crossed the river frantically. Tom Wright's army is 100,000, and he attracts more giant bone dragonfish. The blackness crushed a large area, constantly pulling some of the troops encountered into the water and tearing them into pieces. After struggling for nearly 3 hours, the 100,000 troops were all on shore. Well, it's probably less than 100,000 now. Just looking at the river water, you can tell that the red color of Anti almost fills the entire river basin. These are all the blood of the soldiers. Tom Wright sat on the grass with no image while ordering the lords to count the casualties. They panted heavily at the same time. The notification sound for Tom Wright to enter the third block has also sounded. Tom Wright, the Lord of the Paradise Alliance and the Lord of the Garden of Eden, successfully entered the third block. Because he is the third lord to enter the third block, he will be rewarded with 100,000 points. The prompt sounded in the minds of all the lords in the secret territory. Tom Wright smiled happily. The price he paid was not small, but he finally achieved his goal. But before Tom Wright's smile subsided, Hilly strode towards this side. Leader, big things are not good, big things are not good. Tom Wright got up from the grass and glared at Hilly. Bastard, what's the big deal? Haven't we already entered the third block? Shirley fell down in front of Tom Wright, shaking his head frantically. No, it's the leader of the Alliance. It's the Monster Chaos Army. There is a Monster Chaos Army rushing in front. Tom Wright looked pale, then clenched his fists, and the corners of his lips raised a curve. Well done. I'm worried about not getting points. Pass my order, all attack. Shirley felt like crying, and continued to shout. There are too many of them. How many? At least 100,000. Damn it. Tom Wright was dumbfounded. At least 100,000? The number of units under its hands is not even 100,000, okay? And it just finished crossing the river, and now it is exhausted, and it is time to fail as a result. 100,000 monsters came to chaos. The situation can be imagined. Before he could speak again, the battle ahead had already broken out. The monster rebel army has fought with the arms. Listening to this movement, the number of monsters is indeed indispensable. Fortunately, Tom Wright is also a talent. After a short period of panic, he quickly calmed down and waved his hand. Attack, 100,000 is 100,000, kill them all. As he spoke, Tom Wright took the brunt of the attack and rushed forward. Lead the soldiers together and launch a charge. Cough cough. Here's a word. After entering the third block, the first batch of Monster Chaos encountered, the number of allied troops entering here is almost the same. It is the first test of the third block. If you can't pass, obediently wait to die. Chapter 340. Heart is bleeding. Second, more for subscription. When the Heavenly Alliance army was fighting against a monster army to the east of the third block, Takeshita Jinsong has also led an army to land like Tom Wright. He suffered a lot of casualties while crossing the river. After logging in, a beep will sound. It's a pity, as the fourth child, Takeshita Jinsong, didn't get any reward points. This made this wretched middle-aged man with a mustache a little angry. Don't wait for him to vent his anger. He encountered the same thing as Tom Wright. The monsters are coming. The number is more than 80,000, densely packed, black and oppressive. This made Takeshita Jinsong dumbfounded. Why don't you enter the third block just by crossing the river? Why are there still monsters who have no time to think? And the battle begins. However, the exhausted allied forces simply cannot erupt with 100% combat effectiveness. The casualties were so great that Takeshita Jinsong's heart twitched. In the end, in desperation, he had to take out the forbidden spell scroll to end the battle forcefully. 3 hours later, the last monster was killed. Takeshita Jinsong collapsed to the ground. His eyes scanned the devastated battlefield ahead. Soon, the results of casualties came out and reported to Takeshita Jinsong. Leader, we lost 125 units in this battle, and we have 728 units left alive. Hearing this result, Takeshita Jinsong almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. What the hell is too ruthless? More than 10,000 soldiers were killed at one time. My heart is bleeding. But things have already happened, and it is impossible to change them. Takeshita Jinsong had no choice but to accept this reality. After that, he ordered some of the arms to clean up the battlefield, and at the same time began to recover their physical strength to prepare for tomorrow's battle on the other side. Like Takeshita Jinsong, Tom Wright also suffered more than 10,000 casualties. There are only more than 80,000 living forces left. In the middle of the night, Ali Gagan, who had been blessed by God, was the fifth lord to enter the third block. Then it was daytime. Somewhere on the shore of the second block, Kim Soo-hyun, who had been preparing all night, ordered to cross the river. Then he encountered Day's inhumane lesson. In fact, Zio Yi, Tom Wright, Takeshita Shinmatsu, Ali Gagan, these guys are quite lucky. Choose to cross the river at night. At that time, the giant-boned dragonfish's offensive strength was weak. So it was not like the unlucky Kim Soo-hyun. I also deliberately chose to cross the river during the day. The result can be imagined. Morning is the time for the giant-boned dragonfish to forage. A large number of giant-boned dragonfish appeared, directly causing casualties of more than 10,000 arms. This made Kim Soo-hyun doubt his life. In desperation, he had to retreat to the shore. What the hell is going on? Those big damn fish. The third block, in a certain main city. Suyu has already woken up. He heard all the beeps that rang all night last night while thinking to himself that these guys are really fast. He is also preparing for the next plan. The map cannot show the location of other lords. Suyu didn't know Tom Wright waiting for someone to log in, and Suyu is not the kind who likes to take the initiative to find trouble. So Suyu decided that today's plan is still the same as yesterday. Let's take those main cities first. When they came to the dining place, Suzir and the others were discussing about other lords entering the third block. Judging by their expressions, they seemed to be a little worried seeing Suyi approaching. The little girls surrounded him one after another. Leader, 3 lords came in last night, what should we do? Duan King Lian was the first to ask. Suyi sat down from the chair, picked up the barbecue in front of him, and took a bite. As usual, continue to attack the main city. Su Kainer frowned, hesitated to speak, and said, Kiko is them. Suyi raised her head and glanced at her. It's nothing to worry about. We don't know their location, and they don't know our location either. Should we waste time actively looking for them? Even the others heard the words, and after thinking about it, it was true. There is no conflict between the two sides at the moment, so there is no reason to look for each other. With this time, it is better to capture a few more third-level main cities, otherwise, more and more lords will enter here, and there will be fewer and fewer third-level main cities. After understanding what Suyi meant, everyone began to sit down and eat. Then, as yesterday, the troops were dispatched. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.